morning. It's lovely to have you here with us at Sewing Quarter this morning. So if you watch regularly, you might be wondering who the new face is. My name's Amy Burrows and I'm a new presenter here on the show. I'm so excited to be here. I've been watching for a couple of months now since the channel launched, and we're so excited to be here with all the lovely designers and guests, and I love that the community that's really building up amongst Sewing Quarter. So not only bringing you fabrics and tools for your sewing, but also different projects and techniques and ideas, and lots of inspiration for things to do. So today is So Very Vintage, and I'll talk you through what we've got coming up on today's show. So we'll just come through. We've got first up in the first hour is myself and the lovely Jenniffer Taylor, and we're making a swing frock, which we'll be doing in just a moment. Then at 9 o'clock, we've got the Polka-Dot paper piecing. That's with John and Lucy Brennan. And then at 10 o'clock, I'm back doing a vintage tea dress with Jenniffer Taylor. And at 11 o'clock, John's back doing Polka-Dot paper piecing again with the lovely Lucy Brennan. So a great show today, lots of exciting things planned. And also remember, we'd love you to get in touch. We'd like to hear from you here at Sewing Quarter, nice and interactive. So drop us a message. If you want to get involved, what we'd like you to do, you can head to the website, sewingquarter.com, and you'll see if you just click on the watch icon, if you scroll down beneath the live show feed, then you'll see a little box there that says message the studio. So you can just come and say hello, let us know what you're up to. If you've got any good projects planned for the weekend, or maybe you've got a question for Jenniffer Taylor, you can let us know, anything like that to get in touch. Alternatively, you can email the studio. So that's studio@sewingquarter.com. Also, if you want to buy anything from today's show, all of the products, at the moment, they're the products from yesterday's show, but as we go through today, there'll be all the products will be listed there. And if you want to add anything to your basket, then you can just scroll through and do that. So, lovely. What I'll do now is I'll talk you through this lovely swing dress. This has been made by Jenniffer, so it's really gorgeous. This is a kit that we've got today. This is from Clothkits, so we're selling the pattern, and we're also selling a fabric bundle. So you've got lots of different denim print fabrics that we're selling in a bundle with the thread and the buttons, so that would be everything you need to make the dress. So the dress itself, this is the swing frock, and it's really lovely. We've added a pocket here. Jenniffer said to me just before we went live, oh, we can fit sandwiches in there, nice big pockets. and you've also got this really lovely, it's sort of a smocky type shape, and also a lovely simple sleeve. There's nothing too tricky about this. If you're a beginner, this would be a great project. You've got no zips or darts or anything too tricky. So if you've never made something before, then this would be a great way to jump straight in and get going. I'll show you the pattern. This is the pattern that we're using. So this is the Clothkits pattern. And again, the swing dress, all your details there on the back, comes with lots of instructions. All your paper pieces are inside and your patterns. We'll be talking through that in just a second with Jenniffer. And lovely. Now I'll talk you through our fabric bundle. So what you can do today, you can either if you wanted to buy the pattern, you can do that, or alternatively, if you wanted to buy the fabric, then you can do that, or you could buy both the fabric and the pattern, and then you've got everything you need to make the dress. So this is our bundle. This is from Art Gallery, and it's a series of denim prints that they do. It's called Denim Studio. So although they look like denim, they're actually 100% cotton, so they're still really nice and lightweight. So I'll show you this one to begin with. So this one here is the diamond fabric. So you get 4 units here, which is 2 meters. So you get lots of fabric, enough to make the pattern and the dress for any size. So the pattern covers dress sizes from 8 to 20, and you'll have enough fabric there for that, regardless of what size you're making. You've also got this in your bundle as well. So you get your thread and your buttons. So lovely little wooden buttons there, and also a navy thread, which matches really well with the actual fabric itself. So that's tonally been matched perfectly. Then the next one we've got, let's go this way. This is the one that Jenniffer's actually using today to make the dress. So this one is called Rosebuds Falling. So as you can see, you've got lovely little flower details on there. They remind me actually of those, you know, the dandelions that you used to blow when they float down in the wind, and you used to blow, you make a wish, blow the petals off. They remind me a bit of those. Really gorgeous. You've got obviously that greeny, acry colour coming through, and the white. Again, 4 units, 2 meters of that, enough to make the dress in any size. And again, as it's bundled up, you've got your buttons and your thread. Okie doke. So the next one is, again, from Art Gallery, another denim print. This one is a pointelle. So it's got, this is actually the one that you saw on the frock here. And it's got lovely, I think this has a really textured sort of deep look to it. Pointelle's obviously a stitch, but it looks a little bit almost 3D. Really gorgeous. White, from a distance looks like a polka dot, but what's lovely about all of these fabrics is that they're lighter. They're 100% cotton, great for the summer, or alternatively you could wear it, you could wear this dress over leggings or jeans, or you could team it with, black tights or anything like that. And again, that's bundled up with your thread and your buttons, and again, 4 units, 2 meters of the fabric there. So all of these bundles today are $44.95. Remember, the bundle doesn't include the pattern, so you buy that separately. That's $12.95. So what I'll do now is I'll take that over and I'll introduce Jenniffer. Let's go. Waiting patiently. Hello. Hi, Jenniffer.
Welcome to the sewing quarter.
Thank you. I'm so excited to be here. It's great. Love it. Okie doke.
Cool. So we are going to be doing the lovely swing frock today, as you've wonderfully demonstrated. I really like this pattern. It's exactly what you said. It's really, really nice and simple to make up. There's no tricky bits in there.
No, nothing for a beginner.
Absolutely, yeah. There's no darts in there. It's got a really lovely, simple fastening in the back. Maybe we can swing the mannequin around later and show people that bit. But you can take it up a little bit leather by inserting the inseam pocket if you want. But my task today is I'm going to try and make this in the hour.
Okay, so I've got to get the whole thing.
I'm going to get a move on.
Absolutely. We're going to get going. Okay.
Absolutely. But
so how do we start?
Before we dive in, I really want to take just a couple of seconds really just to go through the pattern of the Clothkits. I mean, they've been around for a while and their patterns are just awesome. Like, I really, really like the way they're displayed. Nothing scary about them at all. So you can see that they are colour, which is quite rare.
Really beautiful
instructions. It's quite rare for an instruction to be in colour. But I think you can really see clearly what is the right and the wrong side of the fabric, so you know what you're putting together. Just flipping it over there, you can see they're very clear and simple instructions if you've never done anything before.
It's really cute sort of little pictures, isn't it?
Yeah,
I like
definitely. So obviously it's showing you every step that you need to go through, along with like handy tips.
It looks like a workbook.
It does, like a maths book. Yeah. So telling you everything that you need to do, and even little handy tips as well. So it really is a really, really super pattern if you're wanting to get into dressmaking. You've normally stuck to smaller projects because you don't want to go into that territory. Exactly. Whereas I really would recommend the Clothkits to if you want to take that step into dressmaking. So this is a lovely little swing frock
and
there.
also then the sizing. So we've got all different sizes on the back there. Some patterns don't use generic sizing, do they? What's
so even though it's saying that the UK size is 8, 10, 12, 14, 16 and 18 to 20, I would always recommend ignore the sizes completely, even though you might be a regular size 14 or 18. Just go with your bust size. Always measure your bust size.
Okay.
It has got a waist and a hips on here, but with this pattern, it does actually say in the instructions, don't worry about the other ones, just take your bust.
Okay.
Don't worry about the other ones.
It'll work. Like it's telling us, forget all of that.
Forget all that.
Just measure your bust. Okay.
Just take your bust measurement. But in any, my tip would be for anybody, take your bust, waist and hip and then pick the pattern size according to those measurements. Don't go diving in with your off-the-shelf, getting it from the high street pattern, because you're just high street size, commercial size, like I don't know, anything that you get off the high street. Basically, don't go with that, because 9 times out of 10 you will get in a little bit of a muddle. Definitely.
So also as well, if you wanted to buy the fabric bundles from today's show, then there's enough fabric in there for any of these sizes, isn't there? So 2 meters is enough.
So even with the 2 meters, you've still got that little bit of extra left over. Not much, but if you're making the biggest size on that pattern, you've just got that little smidge, because obviously with pattern matching and that kind of thing. But if you are a smaller size, then obviously you have a little bit more left over. So in answer to your question, the 2 meters will completely cover everything, every size. If you want to put a little extra half meter in or whatever, then you can get it on there. Of course you can. But we wanted to give you a kit, so you've got everything you need to go straight in, diving in, buttons and thread included, everything
Just
you need
get straight on with the actual fun part, the making.
Absolutely. Okay. So on that note, we're going to get started. So with the pattern, it's really simple. You have a front and a back. And then you have a front and a back facing, which are smaller. So if I just bring those over. So I've already gone ahead and pinned those. So that's the
I love this fabric.
That's the
really,
front
really
facing, and then those are the back facings, okay? So you've only got 4 pieces to cut out, really, because you'll be cutting the fabric on a fold, so you cut the back out and the front out in one cut.
Oh, okay, yeah.
So that's the back piece, because you can see there's a centre back there, whereas this piece is on the fold, because that's the front. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is open that out.
Does the pattern sort of instruct you where to cut and all of those things?
Absolutely. It even tells you, depending on your pattern size, because pattern comes in different widths, from selvage to selvage. They sometimes fluctuate. So sometimes you can get a selvage with 112 or 150, and how you would lay your pattern out would be different depending on the pattern size. So they even go through all of that on there. It's
really detailed.
Really, really detailed.
Also, the great thing about this kit is that you could definitely reuse this pattern. It's nice, thick paper, isn't it? It's not like the
no, it's like a tissue.
Paper?
I mean, there's
parchment sort of. It's not like that. It's a thick paper pattern.
It is, exactly. So it's really going to last the test of time. So if you rather than cut into your pattern, what I like to do is actually trace them.
Oh, okay.
So keep them in form.
So you can reuse.
Yeah, definitely. But if you are to cut them, because it's paper, they do tend to last that little bit longer. So it is value. It's great value for money.
End up with a bookshelf full of patterns. The graphics for the pattern are just across the bottom. So that's UDCY27. That's $12.95. And then the bundle, this is the fabric that Jenniffer's working with at the moment. So that's the Rosebud Falls denim print bundle. That's just the fabric, buttons and thread. YZGC25. So you get 2 meters of fabric with that, 4 units, and that's $44.95, which works out a lot cheaper than if you just were to buy the fabric on its own and then add the buttons and thread yourself. It's good value for money if you buy all of those things together.
It's all about savings, isn't it?
Lovely.
Okay, so I've just gone ahead and sewn the one shoulder seam together, so I'm just repeating that on the other side
So we didn't miss anything?
Didn't miss anything, no. I would have said, "Oi, shut up, come over here."
Let me talk.
Let me talk. No, I'm just sewing the shoulder seams together, so I'm just doing that one. I'm just doing the second one now. So in the pattern, again, it'll tell you what your seam allowance is, and in this case it is a 1.5, which is in centimetres. Okay. So if you are in inches, it would be either 4/8 or 5/8, somewhere around that mark. So that's that done.
So that's our shoulders.
That's our shoulders done. So if I open this out for you. So that's the great thing about making your dress, you can start to see it coming to life. So that's the shape. Straight away, you've got your shape.
Absolutely.
Okay. So if you wasn't going to face this at all, you could just sew the side seams up, and in theory you do your back seam and you're done. But we're going to create a nice neckline with a facing. So I'm going to go ahead and do that now.
What's the benefit of putting the facing on, adding that?
So if we focus on this section here, you can see you got all of the raw edges on that neckline there. So these are the neckline. Those are going to be your arms. So I've opened the dress out for us. Okay. So it's how you finish that neckline. So you could bind it if you wanted to, but with a facing it gives that structure. And the great thing about this facing, not only is it going to be finishing off this neckline area, but it's also going to be finishing off our armholes as well at the same point.
So it's about a finish. It gives that
all-in-one finish. So I'd really like to focus on that, and I think this is what I really like about the pattern, that you're finishing all of these in just a very simple technique by using the facing. So I'm going to go
simple but effective.
Simple but super effective.
It's
absolutely true, because it's giving you that professional
Well, it makes
finish.
it look like something that you would see in a shop, but you have the pleasure of saying, "Oh, I made this myself."
So all I'm going to be doing is repeating that with my facings now. So it's exactly the same stitch across the shoulders, and then we're going to need to get
1.5 centimetres again?
1.5 centimetres, and then once we've done that, we're going to need to get the iron out, if that's cool. So if you want to grab that and the little mini ironing board.
Cool. Let's get this iron ready. We've got that on there.
One shoulder done. Just going in with the second shoulder now.
Oh, I like this little lining board.
It's cute, isn't it?
Very cute. Okay.
It's just handy for those little quick sections.
Yeah.
So I prefer to use the little lining board rather than the heat-resistant mat sometimes, because you want the lift, especially when you're doing something like this.
Oh, so rather than pressing down on something, it gives you that bit of height.
And also just to get things on, like skirts and things, so it's nice to have that little...
bit of height underneath.
Yeah. Okay, so in the instructions...
This is a still of what we're making today, just going to come up on the screen. So that's the swing frock there that Jenniffer's making. That's in the pointelle fabric, and we're using the Rosebud Fold, so that other fabric will pop up on your screen in just a minute. Okay.
Brilliant. So in the instructions, it'll be telling you to finish your seams and press them open. So to save time, and because we're doing a facing, I'm not going to finish my seams, but normally what you would do is you could go in with a zigzag, an overlocker, or pinking shears. But because I'm doing the facing, it's all going to be enclosed anyway, so I'm not going to bother finishing those.
So you can leave.
So I can leave these raw, whereas the side edges, they're not going to be enclosed, so I will be finishing those with a pinking shears, so we'll use those a little bit later. But do you want to have a go at some pressing?
Okay. So what do we do?
Right, so when you are pressing, you want to be pressing these seams open and as close to the stitch line as possible.
Okay.
So we need to do both of those for me, and I'll get
to make it flat.
Nice and flat for me, yeah.
So pressing, obviously, slightly different to
so
normal.
with ironing, it's the sort of typical housewife, you know, moving backwards and forwards. Whereas with pressing, you are almost keeping the iron still. So that's a perfect job. Perfect job. So if we could just do the other one, that one, and then I'll scoot ahead and do the other one for you.
Okay.
So yeah, when you are pressing, it's a permanent press. So if you think about tailored trousers, and you have those lines running straight down the centre of the body, down the leg, that would have been pressed, and it doesn't matter how many times you wash them. Sometimes it's hard to get that crease. Not that you would.
You can't replicate it.
You can't replicate it, and it's always there, and that's what pressing does. Whereas ironing just gets rid of a little bit of a crease. Do you know what I mean?
Pressing
that's beautiful pressing. Well done. So I like to think that because I hate ironing, but I love pressing.
It's different things. This is a function more than just making you smooth.
So if anybody comes over with their washing, go, "Oh, can you just iron that for me?" No. I'm pressing at the moment. There's a difference.
Oh, we've had a message in. Who's that from, Hannah? Oh, Tracy says, "Well done and good luck for today." Thank you very much, Tracy. Thank you. Lovely to hear from you.
They're lovely, our viewers are, aren't they?
It is such a community. I've already, you experience that quite quickly. It's great. The sewing community generally is so sociable, and obviously lots of people going to sewing classes and
people are so willing to share their knowledge, which is what I really like. So we're done with that now, my darling. Thank you very much.
That's all right.
Okay, so I've pressed my seams open on both my dress and my facings.
Okay.
So now it's about putting the necklines together. So this is where you need to put right sides together.
Okay.
Just open that out. Move that out of the way so you can see what we're doing. Okay, so there's our right side and this is our right sides together. So what you want to do first of all is make sure that your shoulder seams are meeting on both sides. This is where I like to get a little pin. And if you pop your pin through the first seam first, the top one, and then you can then always just overlay it into the second seam underneath, and you know that they're going to meet.
I know this might sound like an obvious question. When you say you're lining that up, is it the line of that pressed open seam to the join underneath?
One, yeah, so it's the stitch line seam. So it's this section here, not these. It's that section there.
I'll just show that. Sorry, so it's just these two lines here on the right sides that we're lining up. Okay.
While you're over there, if you'd like to pop a pin in that for me.
Okay. Oh, I'm learning already.
Yeah.
Okay, so the pattern for this is along the bottom of your screens. It's the Clothkits Swing Frock paper pattern, and it's $12.95. We're using the bundle. This is the Rosebud bundle fabric. So it comes with all your buttons and your threads, so you've got everything in there. But also there are two other prints available as well. So you've got the more of a polka dot type of one and a diamond denim print. But we'll look at those in a second.
Brilliant. So now it's about just pinning around the neckline. So I'm going to continue to pin around this section here and also in the arm section there. These are the arm sides there.
Okay.
So once I've stitched around that line, we're then ready to pull through our lining, and this is what I like about this particular facing, because sometimes they just do the neckline and the arms are dealt with separately, whereas this is an all-in-one facing, so you're finishing off not only the neckline but the armholes as well at the same time.
So in one job you actually get to feel like you've ticked two things off your list.
Absolutely.
You've done neckline and sleeves.
Tick. So I'm literally going to be pinning around there before I go to the sewing machine, and again it's the same 1.5 seam allowance, so that's all we need to do.
Okay.
So I'll just pop a few bits there.
So once we're all pinned, you're just going to sew that again?
I'm just going to, where I've pinned, I'm just going to be going around with the sewing machine, yeah.
Okay, lovely. I might just head over and quickly show you the fabrics again then while Jennifer's doing that.
Yep.
So I'm just going to shimmy over here. Let's have a look. I'll just talk you through. Okay, so this one, the first fabric bundle that we've got here. So this is your diamond denim print, which I'll show you. So we've got lots of little details within the diamonds. So you've got little flowers. This one here almost looks like when you cut open a crystal and you have all those different layers inside. Really, really nice. And where was the other one? Oh, yeah, this one is sort of spotty with squares. So lots of different patterns. I don't know if you call that, it's almost like a little bit like a harlequin with your diamonds there. But that's a diamond denim print bundle, $44.95. PSGC 51. So you get 2 meters in that bundle, which is plenty to make the swing frock regardless of what size you're making. And again,
Sashiko stitching, that one does.
Pardon?
Sashiko stitching is Japanese.
Oh, like a Japanese.
Yeah, it reminds me of Japanese stitching. It's lovely. Really, I don't think the picture quite does it justice. It's really lovely.
No, it is really, and it's so soft. I think as well, sometimes working with the denim, you are put off by the fact it's very heavyweight. But the great thing about this is because it's cotton, it's a denim look, so you haven't got that really sort of thick, heavy fabric. It's really easy to work with. Again, in your bundle there, you've got your buttons and your thread, so that's all packaged up. So you're saving. If you bought the fabric, it would be more than $44.95. So your buttons and your thread are in there as well. And then the next one, this is the one we're seeing Jenniffer using just at the moment. Those buttons as well, they're little light wooden buttons. So they're sort of a light brown tan sort of colour. Really pretty. I like those sort of natural themes. We're only using one, so you'll have 4 left over for your stash you can use for another project if you've got anything in mind. So this one, I'll show you how much fabric there is actually, just so you get an idea. It's a lot, a lot of fabric. You could do a dance with the fabric. So this is your I can't even stretch 2 meters. I don't know what my arm span is, but it's not 2 meters. So it's probably taller than me as well if I turned it the other way. 2 meters of your rosebud fabric there. And it's got a really nice drape to it. It falls really nicely, and your flowers going in all different directions there. Really, really lovely. So that's enough of a little workout of an arm stretch. Let's leave that. Okay. And then the next one we've got is the pointelle, which is the one that you'll see in the frock here. That's just popping up. This is still there on your screen of the rosebud falls. And now we're going to move on to your pointelle, which is the swing frock that's on the mannequin next to me here. Again, another bundle. So you've got all your buttons and your threads. And I'll just show you actually how that matches. So you can see, I don't know if we can get a close up there. So you've got your navy thread, which matches, it's been sort of picked out and matches really well. And you can see as well, you've got that sort of textured detail in the circles. They're not just sort of flat white polka dots. There's a bit more to them than that, which is really nice. So that's GWGC10, and that's the spot denim print bundle. Again, 100% cotton, more than enough fabric there to make the biggest size of the dress. Okay, lovely. So we're just going to show you a still of the pattern that we're using as well. So this is the swing frock pattern from Clothkits. Obviously, they're really great kits. We just went through all of the instructions there. It's like a craftsperson's workbook. You've got lots of diagrams and instructions and details on how to make that. It's very thorough. UDCY27. You can buy that on its own without the fabric bundles if you wanted to make it with something else. So $12.95 for the pattern itself, all your instructions and paper pattern in there as well. Okay, so we'll come back over to Jenniffer. And what have we missed? Hopefully nothing.
You've not missed nothing. You've not missed anything at all. So just to recap quickly whilst I just stop using my lovely scissors. We pinned our neckline and arms in place.
Yes.
With our facing, so the main dress to the facing. I've then gone around that exact same position now in a stitch, and now I'm doing something called clipping, and that's to allow these curved edges to open out. It gives ease in the neckline because we're going to be turning it the wrong way around.
I love these. So these are the Fiskars scissors. I'm just going to have a look at those. So these are your spring-loaded scissors from Fiskars. They're really great dressmaking, and they've got a soft grip. The great thing about these is that the angle of the scissors, so you've got the blade and the handle there, it allows you to keep it flat while you're working on your, if you're cutting a pattern. So if you've laid everything out, particularly with dressmaking, if you've got a large amount of fabric, you've pinned everything, you don't want to lift it and create that sort of height off the table or the desk you're working on. So it's great that you can keep that flat with the angle of the scissor there. If you've got perhaps, you know, the repetitiveness of cutting, the spring loading there makes that that takes the strain out of it. All of the work is done by the actual scissors. Obviously your safety catch and nice sharp blade. Fiskars, as you know, always going to be a really a good cut and something that's going to make your sewing that bit easier. Okay, absolutely. So we were snipping.
Exactly what you said about the spring. Because it's springing back, you're moving your hands as much. So normally you'd have to open and close and open and close your scissors, whereas you're only having to close them and that's it now.
And that's what I was saying there, you can just slide it straight in.
Yeah, absolutely. And the angle of the handle is really ergonomic on the wrist as well. I'm sort of being a bit caggy-handed with it without just moving my fabric around.
And they're ambidextrous, so you could use them right or left-handed.
Yeah, that's right. So they're really, really lovely. I mean, even if you do a lot of cutting, which I do, you really do notice the difference when you've been using them for the day compared to a normal pair of scissors. But I do love my scissors.
Do you?
Yeah.
Everyone gets attached to their scissors.
Everyone ask any sewer
or
quilter.
It's an extension of your hand almost, isn't it?
Absolutely. So it's really worth investing in a good pair of scissors because they do last you a lifetime if you look after them. So don't get cutting paper with these.
So if you got home and someone had used your scissors on some paper, there'd be trouble.
Death.
We don't do that.
No, you really don't do that. So yeah, no, it is going back to it's really worth investing in a good pair of scissors. So going back to what I'm doing here, it is really important that you're clipping in all the curved areas. You can see with this arm shape here, not only have you got that shape here, but then it's also convexing as well. So you've got quite a lot of curves in that area. And when you're clipping, it's really important that you don't cut that stitch line, otherwise you're going to have a hole.
Yeah.
Okay.
So how roughly does it matter the distance between those cuts? Obviously you've done it really evenly there. Is it a specific?
Try and get as even as you can, as possibly as you can. And on a straight edge, you don't have to clip because it's straight, it will fold normally. So if I fold this back now, this is going that way, but when I turn it the right way round, it'll be doing that. So you can see how the fabric's allowing it's separating.
It gives you that
allowing
ease
that movement
to move it.
Whereas if I was to do it on this one, it's not letting me, and that's why you need to clip. Okay, you need to allow the music to
the music to play, the music to happen. It's allowing the movement in the fabric when you turn it. I know what you mean.
About?
It is early.
It is super early. I didn't think too well last night either. So yeah, I'm just finishing the little clip there. Then once we've done that, this is where the special, it's quite magic actually. I quite like this spacing, it's really good.
So the pattern's on the bottom of your screen there, that's $12.95 for the Clothkits swing frock. And then the fabric that Jenniffer's using at the moment, the Rosebud Falls, that's in a bundle with your thread and your buttons, and that's again on the side of your screen, 2 meters of fabric.
Okay. So, just a super recap.
Oh, really quickly before a recap, we've had a question for you.
Oh, yes, go.
What was the question? Okay, so Patricia, thanks for calling in, Patricia, or messaging in. Do we wash the fabric before we get going with it?
I would always recommend washing the fabric, definitely. Not because there's anything wrong with the fabric, it's just that with new fabric, there might be a tendency for it to shrink slightly.
Okay.
Especially with your non-natural fibres. Now, obviously, this is cotton, so the percentage of it shrinking is quite low.
Yeah.
But then it's been in a warehouse, it's travelled, it's just worth giving it a very super quick...
It's always making it yours, isn't it, by making it clean and
it smells nice.
Smell like your house. It needs to smell like your wardrobe,
exactly.
not like wherever it's come from.
Exactly. So not only does it smell nice, but also it's just the last thing you want to do is make this gorgeous dress, wear it once because it fits amazing, put it in the wash, and then it's it just doesn't feel right. So how many times have you had something from the high street, wore it once, washed it, and then it doesn't fit?
It never hangs the same. It never always hang the same way. No,
so it's always worth, regardless, washing the garment, washing the fabric first, then give it a press, and then get going, because then you know it's going to fit you exactly how you've made it.
Great.
Right?
And what temperature would you wash it at? 30?
Just a 30 would be absolutely, 30 would be fine. 30, 40 would be absolutely fine. Yeah, don't go with a boiling wash, because then you really will come out with something about this big. But yeah, so a 30 to 40 wash would be fine.
Okay.
And a quick cycle. You don't have to it doesn't have to be a long cycle at all. Just a quick run through.
Great.
Right. So I've our dress is out, laid out. We haven't done anything else yet. We've sewn and clipped all of our curved edges. So this is where you need to turn it the right way around. So you're looking at it going, how do I do that?
Yes.
Okay, so most people want to grab this part of the dress, the big part of the dress, and pull it through the facing, but then you realise, well, hold on a minute, I've got two...
Back and
I've got two alleyways to go down here. So think of it as a road. This part cannot go through both, whereas these ones, because the centre back is open, can. So that's the area that you need to go through. So I'm going to take this part of the dress and push it through to the front. So that's that one done.
Yep.
And then again, this part through the other side. So this is why you don't sew your back seam yet. If you sewed your back seam, you'll have to pull it through. You'll have the same.
You've got no rows to put through.
You've got no rows to put it through.
Exactly.
So once I've done that, obviously it just needs a little press now.
Okay.
But essentially, all we need to...
Do we want to do that?
Yeah, we can just do a super quick press. All you need to do now is sew your side seams, because you can see we've already finished our arms and we've finished our neckline.
I'm just going to show that actually. This, all of a sudden, so quickly, you see that professional finish that the facing creates. So you've got sort of a meeting of the fabric. There's no raw edges at all, have you? You've just got a really clean finish. Clean finish around the neck, clean finish around the arm. So again, the neck there as well, you can see is exactly the same. I'll just show you. So where you've turned that in, the join is just really smart. I like
cool,
that.
Isn't it? It's a really nifty little trick. So if you have any patterns at home that don't have a facing and you want to do this clean finish on the arms but you have a centre back seam, you could do this at home by just tracing the top part of the garment
and just adding it
and adapting the pattern
but
to do that.
But always only if you've got a centre back seam, not if you've got
so if it's two pieces, it's not going to work. Yeah, it's not going to work. So I'm just going to super quick give that a press.
While you do that, I'll just show everyone the instructions again.
If I come over here,
we've got how clear they are, because it's a really lovely instruction book here. I'll just move this out the way. So this is the instructions here, and I'll just open so you can have a little look. So this all comes inside your pattern as well as the paper pieces. Let's just get out the way of the iron. So you've got loads of little sort of pictures and diagrams, really clear, talking through all your different measurements, the finished sizes of the dress, how to lay out your pattern pieces. Lots of people already got this in their basket. It's a really popular pattern. Great for the summer. I definitely could see this sort of in a garden party or a summer barbecue. Or all the instructions there. It's talked through really well. All that, how we did all the snipping of around the facing, and with that open back seam, all talked through there. And then going into detail, which we'll be doing in a second, of the button on the back as well.
A super cute button.
Super cute wooden button, which is really lovely. Really gorgeous instructions. And I'll show you the actual pattern itself just in here. Is again the...
It's definitely worth opening that out, because it really is a really nice, simple, nice pattern.
Let's just stay clear of
just don't burn yourself on the other process.
Set the pattern on fire. I'll just show you a little bit of this. So there's really clearly labelled, and your different sizes all marked on there. And this is a really thick. This is a very thick paper that you can reuse.
It's not a low grade paper. It really is going to last and stand multiple makes, which is what I like.
So you can have this in your wardrobe. It could become a bit of a capsule piece, couldn't it? Really,
absolutely.
In lots of different fabrics. Well, if you missed the beginning of the show and you're wondering who the new girl is,
who are you?
I'm Amy. I'm one of the new presenters here on the show. So who is this girl?
Who are you?
I know we've got lots of regular viewers, and you know you're John and Natasha, but I'm on with Jenniffer today. Then John's on in the next hour with Lucy. They're doing some English paper piecing, and then Jenniffer and I are back in the next hour.
We are
at 10 o'clock.
We are. So I'm just finishing my last press on the one shoulder.
Oh, I've had a message from Heather as well saying welcome on board. Thank you very much. Lovely to hear from you. I'd love to hear what you're all up to, what projects you're making at the moment. Maybe you've got a question about anything that we're doing today. Feel free to drop us a message. Get them in.
Okay, so I've just very super quick pressed my neckline and shoulders. So now we're going to be adding the really cute little detail in the back of the dress. Are we able just to flip that around so we can see what... I think the picture doesn't quite do it justice.
Let's have a look how to turn this around.
Mannequin will
Let's give it a little pivot. You can see here, actually.
Cute.
Really lovely little button. That's it there. So you've got this, what would you call it, like a loop?
So it's like a rouleau loop, yeah.
There with the...
Rouleau loop for the button finish. So I'm just going to grab my...
Really lovely. Jennifer's going to talk us through how we do that now. So just got that detail there.
Nice,
actually, tan goes really beautifully with denim.
I was about to say that
If you,
they've picked the perfect button. I think it's always about the right button
yeah,
for the
just
job.
adding when you're especially if you're only using one button, it needs to be right. You don't want to put something on there that doesn't really. Do you know what I mean? If you've made all the dress and then you stick a button on that doesn't really match tonally or colour-wise, that's not great.
Exactly.
Okay, so. The fabric bundle that's on your screen at the moment, that's the Spot denim print bundle, so that's the Pointel. That's GWGC10, $44.95. Again, in the bundle, that's the one you've just seen on the mannequin there. So your fabric, your buttons and your thread, all included in that. Okay, so where are we up to?
Okay, so I'm just going through the instructions, just so, again, to show you how lovely and clear they are. So we are going to be making the button loop now and attaching that to our garment.
I'll just show this.
Yep.
So that just talks you through there how to make an easy button loop, and it's all broken down. Lots of all your info. But Jennifer's going to show us now anyway.
Yeah. So I've gone ahead and made my little rouleau loops. That's all done for you, or gone speedy ahead and done that for you. So very simple. It's almost like bias binding, basically, where you're folding it into four. And again, the instructions, if you've never done bias binding before, or never made a rouleau loop before, then or a button loop, sorry, then it will be telling you how to do that in the instructions. But I'm sure our regular viewers will know what that will be. And also,
how big is that?
So they say to make it, I think it was a 10 centimetre piece, and then you need to clip it down. I think it's to 7. You've just checked my instructions for me.
Yeah, 7 centimetres, spot on.
So you make it a 10, and then you clip down to 7, and once you've got your 7, then you're positioning it onto your garment. So you can see from the instructions here that you can see that the fabric is coming on this side. Come with me. Here we are. So there's the fabric, there's the facing, and this is obviously our button loop here. So with the way, if you were looking at that at the screen, that's how your fabric needs to be. So I know I'm putting it on the right side. If your fabric's on the other side, then that's you're putting the loop on the wrong side.
Yeah.
Okay. So this is what I mean about the instructions. It would be as you would see it.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
So it's talking to you, as you're talking to me now. It's not something that's very formal, like a formalised instruction. Sometimes you go, actually, when I read that, it doesn't really make sense in a logical way. I think they're very straightforward
with it. Well, sometimes the instructions will just say put loop on the right-hand side, but when you've got a garment that hasn't been made up yet, you see this is all sprawled out. Sometimes you're like, which is the right? Which way am I doing? Like, sometimes it's hard to get your head around it because you're not looking at a 3D garment yet.
It's not finished.
So the fact that they're giving you a nice clear image, I think it is always worth it. So I've put my rouleau loop on, and it just states put it 1 centimetre away from that seam line. So you can see that I've done that there. So all I need to do is just quickly baste that in place.
Okay.
And then we're ready for the next step. Okay. So when you're...
Who's messaged in? Sonia. Oh, hello, Sonia. Thanks for your message. Oh, she's enjoying the show. Fantastic show. Oh.
Thank you.
Oh, great to see a new presenter with a happy warm bunch of viewers today.
Yeah.
That's lovely. Thank you so much. It's really kind of you.
Okay, so I've stitched that in place, and I've also stitched it inside my seam allowances. So we talked about seam allowance, which was a 1.5 centimetres.
Yeah.
So when you're doing a basting stitch like this here, you need to ensure that that's within the seam allowance. So you're not doing it at the 1 point, because you don't want to see
So it needs to be less than a centimetre and a half.
1 centimetre, half centimetre. It doesn't really matter as long as you're catching these pieces.
Yeah.
And you're doing it within the seam allowance, okay? So I've done that there. So now you take your facing and fold that back on itself, like that.
See, if this was a denim as well at this point in time, if you were sewing through that many layers of thick denim, it would be so bulky, wouldn't it?
Especially when you start dealing with the loop. Yeah, definitely, without a doubt.
Whereas the cotton is much lighter.
Much lighter, and it's a swing frock. You want it to swing.
You want it to flow.
Denim won't swing.
No.
So what we're going to do now, you can see that I've got a little notch in my fabric. So obviously that would have been that's come from the pattern itself. So I'm putting the two pieces together. So if I just bring it down a section, there's the dress. You can see that's where the facing finishes. I'm making sure my notches are together, and I'm going to sew from that notch towards the edge of my neckline, and I'm going to do that on both sides.
Okay.
So then
the seam allowance on
exactly
same
the
again?
same, yeah, 1.5. So I'm just going to go in.
Okay.
how long we got? How long we got on time? I reckon we're going to do it.
We've got about just under 20 minutes.
Oh,
so you're good. We've got loads
time.
of time. We can model the dress. So what we're making today is this swing dress. It's a Clothkits pattern. So Clothkits have been going for over 40 years. They're sort of a family-run business based in Chichester and West Sussex, and they. Lots of people are sort of familiar with some of their patterns that they make that are printed straight onto fabrics. This is one of their paper patterns. So £12.95 for this particular one, and you could make that in a fabric that you have, or the fabrics that we're working with today. We've got in a denim bundle with your threads and your buttons. So you've got plenty of fabric there to do that. This is the Rosebud bundle that we're working with at the moment, and the graphic, I think it's just popping up on your screen there now. You'll see the material. So that's the pattern there, the swing frock from Clothkits, UDCY27. And the great thing, I love it really does have a swingy feel to it, doesn't it?
Yeah, absolutely.
It flows really beautifully. It's a smock sort of shape. And then next on your screen will just be the fabric bundle, which again is everything you need to make the dress, except the sewing machine.
Although you can get that from our website.
You need to add the pattern to that and the sewing machine, and then you've got everything you need. If you were just interested perhaps in the fabric, maybe you've got another pattern that you'd have in mind, then you're getting 2 meters within that, so you've got plenty there. It's more affordable to buy it in the bundle than it would be to just buy it sort of by the half meter, especially for today, for our lovely show with Jenniffer.
Great stuff.
So we've done a 1.5 centimetre seam allowance.
So what we've done now, I've sewn down the 1.5 centimetre seam allowance against the notches, and I've turned it out. So again, you can see that it's giving us this really, really nice finish along that neckline, which is giving us that opening in the back. So all I need to do now, once I've made my dress, would be to attach a button onto this side of the garment. So if I just bring that out for you so you can see. There you go, so we've got our loop on this side, so all I need to do now is pop a button on this side, but I do that once I've made it all up, so make sure I'm putting my button in the right place. So now I've done that.
You said you turned that what did you do there? So
if I just flip that back for you.
Oh, it was, so you were stitching it that way, and then you've just turned where the
exactly.
cuts have allowed you to turn it.
That's our stitch line, so you can see I've gone from the top all the way to our notch at the bottom there, and what I did is I clipped the corners, because if you left it square, which is the position it was before, when I fold it in you have lots of bulk, so I've just gone in and cut into a triangle shape, again making sure I'm not cutting those stitches, that's really important. So when I do turn my garment and facing out, even without a little chopstick or proddy tool, I've already got a really nice pointy finish, okay? So now we've done that top of our facing, I'm ready to put the side seams together.
Okay.
So if I just open this out
So this is where we really do start to see.
This is where you will effectively have a dress. It'll almost be like a nurse when you go to the hospital where you've got the back open. So we need to do that. Remember to do that one. It's really important that you do that last stitch. But yeah, we're doing the side seams. So what's important about this section here, if I just bring this over for you, that you don't do anything with these facings, that you leave those for the time being, and all you're going to be doing is bringing your 2 seams together, which is what we did earlier in the shoulder seam, and you're going to sew down that facing and then down that one. So you don't want to be doing that, because then...
So you want it open.
You want it open. And the reason being is so when you then, when you do sew it, and it will make more sense when I show you later, once I've done it, it gives you that nice clean finish under the arm.
Yeah.
Otherwise, what's going to happen is you're going to have loads of raw edges sticking out.
Yes.
So it'll look like you've got...
Sometimes you have that on a sort of shop bought dress, don't you? Think,
exactly.
I'm not really sure what's happened with the sleeve there, but so basically we just need to keep that open as we stitch it, and then we can...
So you press your seams open. Let me just bring that one. So you press the seam open. You have the facing flat, so you can see that's the facing and that's the dress. You're stitching into that stitch line, into that seam line, and then going down the length of the dress. You don't want to be doing that, where you bring in both these sections together like that, and then sewing, because then you'll have all of that, and you don't want to see that.
No.
Does that make sense?
Yeah, absolutely makes sense. I see exactly what you mean. We don't want...
You don't want underarm, underarm hair when you haven't really got it. No, so you want to hide it. Well, that's what it will look like.
Absolutely. We don't want any thread hanging out from the armhole of the dress.
Exactly.
No. Let's steer clear of that.
Steer clear of that. So I'm just going to go in with a pin, again, just doing that same trick where I'm poking through the seams just to making sure that they're meeting up. And I'm going to go in with the stitch. So again, that's same again, 1.5, nothing new here as far as the seam allowance is concerned. So I'm just going to go in very quickly.
Lovely.
But what I would do is when you get to the stitch line, I would pivot from that point to keep the needle into the fabric, lift, and then twist.
Okay.
All right. So I'm going down the length. So again, at home, you can see that I've not pinned, but I'm just trying to cut out time. But obviously, if
you could pin.
Yeah, definitely pin. Especially if you're a beginner, go ahead and pin. Pin or clip or tack and base, whichever one you want to call it. But yeah, I would go in and do that, but I'm just being super speedy. So I'm going to do that, and all I'm going to do now is just repeat that on the other side.
Lovely. And then we're pretty much...
all you've got to do now is the back seam and your button.
Great.
Ta-da!
Got a new outfit.
We've got a new
outfit.
outfit.
I have to steal this.
Pokes to the job, my dear. Pokes to the job. So again, I'm just going in again, repeating exactly what I've just shown you with the other side.
Okay. So we're going back down again.
Back down.
You could pin, could clip, but we're just going to whiz it through today just so we can get through to the end.
So there's one edge.
This is the Rosebud Falls denim fabric. If you're just tuning in, you're wondering what we're working with. So this is from Art Gallery. So there are 3 different prints onto a cotton. So it's not actually denim, it's a denim look fabric. So it's nice and light. The one on your screen, that's the bundle for that $44.95. For that price, you're getting the threads, the buttons, and 2 meters of the fabric, and YZGC25 for that Rosebud Falls denim print bundle.
It's really lovely to sew with.
Yeah,
it really, really is. It really behaves under the machine.
It's not. It doesn't feel difficult.
Well, some fabrics you fight with sometimes. They don't like to be under the machine, and you have to tell them off very sternly.
That's what they're here for. They're meant to be here for.
Whereas this cotton is lovely, and exactly what you said. It's got a really nice light because considering it's 100% cotton. Yeah. You always imagine things that it's really thick. You think about like 100% cotton sheets where they're quite stiff sometimes. Where this is actually
no, this isn't.
This is super light. It really is lovely, and it does drape gorgeous.
And you're making a saving today as well if you buy the bundle, because if you bought the fabric on its own, it would actually be more than $44.95 for 2 meters. So you're getting your buttons and your thread as well within that price. Okay.
Okay, so in essence, we pretty much have a dress now, apart from we've got a hospital dress, if you like, because we haven't done our back seam yet.
Oh, we've had a question. Was that from June, Hannah? So she's actually asking if you can lengthen this pattern, how you can...
You can. In fact, if you want to get the pattern open, I'll show you where you'd need to do that. While you're doing that, actually, I'm just going to go in with my pinking shears just to finish the seam. So, again, we've talked about finishing seams at the very beginning of the show. I didn't bother doing anything with the shoulder seams because it's enclosed by the facing, whereas this side seam isn't. So in order to make your garments last that little bit longer, I would always recommend finishing your seams. The cheapest way is with a pair of pinking shears. Okay. The most expensive way is with an overlocker.
So it depends. And also speed as well. It depends how, if you're trying to do something quickly. So your pinking shears are on your screen there. They're the hemline, 21.5 centimetre pinking shears. So LYGQ40, and they're $14.95. So this, I love this on the pattern. We're having a little joke on the pattern today. Are you tall? This is a shorty. And then it shows you how you can elongate the pattern.
That's exactly what I was going to show them. Well done. So this, we haven't folded it all out, but this is basically the dress. This section here is the dress here. And at the very bottom, you can see these little asterisks here. There you go. You can see the asterisks there. And it does state, are you tall? Question mark. This is a shorty! Exclamation mark. Like so all you need to do here is basically elongate the lines to make it as long as you want. So when you what I would suggest doing at home is once you've got the pattern, whether you cut it out directly or trace it and then cut it out, either way, put it against your body, making sure the shoulder seam is on your shoulder seam, and just lay it down your body and look in the mirror. Yeah. But make sure you're looking at a mirror, not looking down, because then it'll look longer than it actually is. Okay, so try and stand straight, look in the mirror and see where it is, and go actually. And then if you pop a finger where it is, then you can just extend and whatever that measurement is. So let's say it's 3 inches. You would just keep marking 3 inches down from that line.
Okay.
Does that make sense?
Yeah,
to
absolutely.
get the length you want. And then you might want to add on a little... Actually, you don't need to add on anything because there's already a hem allowance in here.
Okay,
so
it's already built into that.
Yeah,
so
it's
you
already
just
built in. So just add on the extra length that you want, and then you're good to go.
So the great thing about that is that it's sort of customisable in that sense that if you look at the shape and you think, I love the shape, but it's a little bit short for me, then you can add on.
Well, this is what I love about dressmaking because everything is customisable.
Yeah.
Anything
Yeah,
and everything. You can make exactly what you want, how you want it, in the fabric that you want, and I think that's what's so empowering about dressmaking. So this is where we talked about the side seam. I've sewed that down. I've pinked it. So now I can show you what I mean about the underarm. So you can see that's given me a nice clean finish.
No hairs.
No hairs. No under hair. It's giving you a nice clean finish, exactly the same as the neckline and all of that. So if we hadn't have done that type of stitch down there, we wouldn't have got that finish. Okay, so that's why it's important to do that. So once we've done that...
half the quantity of this pattern's actually gone. So if you have got it in your basket and you think you want to get it, just make sure you check out. Remember, you'll only pay one postage and packaging a day here at Sewing Quarter, so it's $2.95. It's capped at that. So if you want to add things throughout the show, you can. Just check it out so you don't miss out.
Okay, so now we're on to our back seam, and then we're pretty much done apart from just doing a hem at the very bottom. So we have made the dress in the hour. We've achieved it. So this is the back seam, okay? And then these are where the facings are. You remember those? We did those earlier. So I've just turned those out a little bit so I can find my notches. Do you remember the notches that we sewed to do the facing earlier? So you're going to bring those two notches together again. So I didn't sew quite close because I need to be able to get to them, so it was only about 0.5 centimetre away. And then I'm going to sew down that back seam.
Okay.
Okay?
Lovely.
And then all I need to do now is just finish the bottom half of the facing, and then we're done. We're literally done. We're literally done. We're excited. Look at your face, it's so good. We're like, we're done, we nearly did it. Okay. So I'm actually going to start from...
Start from the bottom?
No, start from the notch. Always start from the notch. Because if for whatever reason you haven't... If there's any uneven... Like, for instance, with this pair of scissors you were talking about earlier, if you've not been very careful with your cutting at the bottom, let's say the one hem is a little bit longer than the other, whereas because the notch, you've just gone click, that's probably...
where you're going to match it up.
That's the most accurate point. So always match that. You can always just nip a bit off the bottom. Nip a bit off the bottom. No one's going to know.
Just under 2 minutes. I have to whiz this through.
No one's going to know. So yeah, again, 1.5 seam allowance, straight down.
Marie says you're a great demonstrator, Jenny.
Oh, thank you. So lovely of you to say. Thank you. So again, I've not pinned, but at home, please go ahead and take the time. You're not going to be on the Sewing Bee contest. You are at home.
You're not being judged.
You're not being judged. It's just for you. It doesn't matter what it looks like on the inside because no one's going to see it. But I do...
It's not a test.
Exactly.
Although I do think it's nice for it to look nice on the inside. Like the facing.
Yeah, of course. Get the pinking shears out. But I just think this, going back to the very beginning of the show, I recommend this dress because it is such a simple, easy one to do. We've done it in the hour. Granted, we haven't cut it out, but we've done all of it.
But look at that. We've got a dress.
Done.
We've done that. That's really lovely. I really, really like that. Really I think as well, it's a very flattering arm shape there, where that's
really nice.
You know, it just
like a little
starts to cover the shoulder.
It's like a cap sleeve, isn't it? Almost like a cap sleeve. So all you need to do now is once you've got your garment on, or if you've got a mannequin at home, or if you've got somebody to help you, just pop a little pin where you need the button to go. So if I just bring that over for you.
That's it.
So just open that out, pop a little pin in that area so you know where to pop your button. So then when you move your loop away, just sew your button on and you're done.
And the buttons are in the bundle as well, anyway.
Buttons are in the bundle, so we're not giving you any hiccups.
Lovely. Oh, thank you so much.
You're welcome.
Really, really enjoyed that. Cool. We're back in an hour anyway. We're making a
vintage tea dress.
A vintage tea dress. But another Clothkits pattern, so we'll be back together at 10 o'clock. I'm just going to go over and recap the bundle. So this is a still of the pattern on your screen at the moment. So that's the Clothkits swing frock paper sewing pattern. So you've got all your instructions in there. The pattern itself is the nice thick paper pattern that you can definitely reuse. The option to extend it if you wanted to make it a longer dress. Lots of baskets sort of got these in their basket. So if you do want it, make sure you check it out. UDCY27, and that's £12.95. If you also, as well, if you don't want to go onto the website, you can give us a call on 0800 112 4433. Give the call centre a ring. They can answer any questions you might have and sort that out for you if you want to buy anything that we've had on today's show. So there's all different sizes within that one pattern. It's going from a size 8 up to a size 20. So you can measure, like Jenniffer was saying, if you take it from a bust measurement, then you can figure out which size you are. It's not necessarily based on high street sizes. So then we've also got the fabric bundles today, which you could use for the pattern that we've just seen there and the dress that we've made, this one on the mannequin. So we'll start with the diamond one. So in the bundle, you've got your buttons, your fabric and your thread, your thread and your fabric. This is the diamond one here. So we haven't actually seen that one as much today, but it's really lovely. You've got almost like kites flying down, kite shapes. If I unfold it a little bit more so you can see some more of the, you've got a lot of fabric here. There's 2 meters within this bundle. So you've got little flowers, you've got more of a geometric sort of shape, and then your sort of squares and spots. And you're making a saving with this bundle as well. If you were buying this by the half metre, it would work out more than £44.95 for 2 metres. So you get your buttons and your thread within that bundle. So you could do any size within that pattern with the fabric bundle. So this one is the rosebud that we were working with Jenniffer on the dress that we've just seen there. Rosebuds falling, again, 100% cotton from, this is the most popular one, the one that we were just working with. So you can see lovely little flowers there, all having a little dance around the fabric. YZGC25, £44.95. Again, 2 meters of that and your thread and your buttons. Last one is the one you can see on the mannequin here, which is the spots. And again, £44.95 with your threads and buttons. Really lovely, sort of textured circles there, which is, as you can see on the mannequin, is really, really pretty. So remember, if you do want to add any of those to your basket today, make sure you check them out, the fabric bundles or the patterns itself. So in the next hour, Johnny's here and he's doing some English paper piecing. Myself and Jenniffer are back at 10 o'clock and we're making a vintage tea dress. So hopefully we'll see you then. Don't go anywhere and get a cup of tea.
Follow us on Pinterest. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to discover sewing work we create and love. Here at the Sewing Quarter, we want to bring our viewers the best and most exciting opportunities to learn and expand your knowledge. To help do this, we will be bringing in some of the leading industry experts in sewing and quilting to help guide our viewers along the way. Such as Jenniffer Taylor, Samantha Claridge, Lucy Brennan, Jo Carter, Angela Atwood, Karen Lewis, Rebecca Reed, and finally Jenny Fox Proverbs, who is the senior editor of Today's Quilter and Love Patchwork and Quilting magazines. Sewing Quarter is at the very heart of sewing as we bring you all things sewing and quilting. The team behind us live and breathe sewing day to day. We strive to bring you exclusive offers, exciting live demonstrations, and most importantly, we will custom cut fabric to your specification in our very own cutting room. We will also be bringing you TV exclusives that you won't be able to find anywhere else. So come and join us today at the Sewing Quarter.
Welcome to the Sewing Quarter!
Join us on Thursday the 30th of March for more innovative dressmaking ideas from Clothkits. Jenniffer Taylor of Sewing Bee fame will be showing us how easy it is to make your own clothes with Clothkits' range of printed sewing patterns and some lovely fabrics from Art Gallery and Amy Butler. So, to learn how to create your own beautiful clothing, join Jennifer on Thursday the 30th of March at 8 a.m. and 10 a.m. only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78. Did you know there are multiple ways you can contact us, even if it's just to ask a question? Our friendly team are always on standby. You can call our customer service team at 0800 112 4433, email us at help@sewingquarter.com, visit our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter @SewingQuarter, and even message us through our website, and our presenters will answer your questions live on air.
Now, just behave, will you? Lucy's stool has just collapsed, and suddenly she was down here and I was up here. Anyway, hello, this is very odd, isn't it? Wasn't Amy brilliant? Wasn't she absolutely brilliant for our first... I'm a bit worried now, because she was too good for our first day, wasn't she? Anyway, so you must have sussed out now. Amy's doing the 8 o'clock and the 10 o'clock hour, and I'm doing the 9 o'clock and 11 o'clock hour. She's got Jenniffer, and I got the short straw. Now, before we go any further, we would like to say thank you for all the lovely messages you've sent in. We've had so many fantastic messages, especially about you, Lucy. Everybody loves you.
Oh,
everybody loves you. We're not shocked. We're not shocked that everybody loves you, but we want you to know we love you lots. That's all. Right, okay. So now, what are we doing today, then? We're doing Elaine Page, I call this, don't I? EP.
Oh, EPP.
EP on a Sunday. EPP.
Yeah.
English...
paper piecing.
OK. And we've got two... we're sitting down, by the way, so it's very odd. I feel like I'm perched on the news today. You know, like, over to you. I've got lots of lovely things for you, too. We've got a kit, right? This is a little set you can get of all the English paper piecing. This is the first one. It's called A Little of This. A little of this and a little of that. They're pattern pieces at £15.95. Now, Lucy's already emptied that one out onto the desk, but there are two options, right? There's that one. Basically, we can make a mini quilt, can't we, with this?
Yes.
Right.
Yes.
There's also another one. Do you want me to show you the other one as well? This is really cute. Now, I'm going to make this one. Not on air.
Lovely.
Not on air.
Oh, go on.
No, I'll have a go in the next hour, because Zoctagon's in the next time we're on together. This one's called Star Bouquet, which I'll talk you through in a minute. I will talk you through that one in a minute. That one's Star Bouquet, miniature wall hanging. That one's £16.95. I won't get it all out now. I'll show it to you in a second. So if you... hang fire, because I don't want you to see that one just yet. But I've got the most gorgeous fabrics to show you. Now, these come in a bundle ready to make the kit, right? So this is the first bundle here. Aren't they beautiful, right? Aren't they gorgeous? Look at them. Look, 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 look. So they're called the Bright Spots Bundle. What it is, you get ½ metre of each of the spotty fabrics, and you get ½ metre of the optical white as your blender or your background fabric. If I take you through them, because they've got lovely names, haven't they? We've got Papaya here. That's obviously optical white. Marine blue, candy. Well, that's hardly turquoise, is it?
No, it's green.
That's not turquoise. That's like a lovely pale jade green. But anyway, they've called it turquoise. You get all of those for £22.95. £22.95 to get all of those. But you know what? That's what you've used, isn't it? We're having our picture taken while we're live on air, so just so you know. So you get those. But if you don't want dots, right? Now, you weren't given this option, were you?
No.
We love it, though. We love this option. If you didn't want to go for dots, you want to go for bright, plain fabrics, then look at this bundle. Look, and these would be brilliant. Brilliant for your stash, right? These are the Bright Solids bundle, this is called. Charcoal, emerald. Yeah, I know, right. Charcoal, emerald, then jumping down to yellow there. Oh, now this. Magenta, which it isn't, and that is violet. half a metre of each of those. Do you know what? You know what? Get that just for your stash because they're lovely.
Yeah,
aren't they?
they're lovely. And this would be, if you were going to make the kit, this would be a really lovely modern version because you would put you would use this one as your background and you'd have the bright colours on the darker background.
Oh, does it tell you to do that in the instructions then?
Well, you need a background fabric.
Yes, so one of those would be your background.
One of those would be your background, but I would use the darker one.
No, you're right.
And then those bright colours would really stand out.
Oh, now I'd be tempted though, just to be, you know. No, you're right. You're right. I'll tell you that. You're right. You're right. Okay, shall we?
You can do it however you can do whatever you like.
You're completely right. You would use the grey as the background. Do it how you like, but you're right.
Or even you could use those 5 on white if you wanted to.
Yeah, but white doesn't come in the bundle.
No, but you could just get some white.
You could buy both bundles, exactly. Right.
So you're making different quilt blocks.
So are we making... we've got everything in there to make this, is what you're saying?
You've got... yes, you get all the paper pieces. So you get all the different shapes to make those different blocks.
So there's blocks, there's rounds,
there's
2
hearts. Dresdens, there's hexagons, there's tumbling blocks.
There's your tumbling block, the one you did with us the other day.
Yes, there's hearts, circles.
What's that one called there?
I think it's a sort of a pinwheel.
Oh, yes, that's it. I knew it. But look, what you're getting... Now, you've used some of these, haven't you? Maybe I should open mine.
Well, this is... yes, I've used some of the shapes, so that's not all the shapes, but you've got all the different shapes in there that you need. And it's not duplicates. You've got actually enough
to make the whole quilt.
To do the whole thing.
Let's just it say on there how big the quilt is finished?
Yes, the finished quilt is 30 inches by 36 inches.
OK, and in there... So I'm going to open mine out. Now, I need to keep mine separate from you.
Yes, let's not mix it up.
So, look.
So that's all your pieces there.
Look at all of these. So you've got...
The Dresden plate.
Diamonds, octagon. Right, hang on. I saw some hearts. Everything you need, basically, to do all of that. They're all in there.
Yes, hexagon.
What did I say?
Octagon.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Hexagon.
Hexagon.
You're not octagon, hexagon.
Not octagon, hexagon.
I said that.
Don't confuse me.
Anyway. Shall we start? Oh, no, there's a parallelogram. Would you call that a parallelogram?
Parallelogram.
That's it. Anyway, you get all the different shapes and different... I'm ever so sorry. There's something very funny in the air today. Right. I think it started with our boss, Simon. He made us all giggle a lot earlier.
Yeah,
and that's just it now. We've just carried on giggling.
I know, that's it.
Carry on giggling with Lucy Brennan.
You've got enough of the... and, you know, all of the papers to make all of the blocks, so you're not having to reuse them. Having said that, if you wanted to make it bigger, you could do extra ones and just reuse the
bits of cardboard.
The bits. So
okay.
This is a heart that I've already used, so you can see where I've had the pins in it. But
second-hand heart.
It's
That's
a
like
second-hand heart.
By Dolly Parton,
but it's a lovely. It's such a nice quality. The papers. It's not really thin paper, so you can reuse them.
Oh, okay, brilliant.
Probably a couple of times if you wanted to.
All right. So let me put all mine away. Then they get muddled with yours. So where did you start? Just so you know, if you want this, it's £15.95, and then the spot bundle is £22. And 95 which are all the fabrics you'll see Lucy using now.
Yes.
OK, so how do we start? How do we even start with this?
So you've got the instructions for the pattern, and then it also comes with instructions for paper piecing. Right. So if you've never paper pieced before, you've got the instructions on the actual technique included there in the pattern. And it gives you... instructions for the straight-sided shapes, and then also like for the heart and for the Dresden where you've got the curve.
Are there different rules then for different shapes?
Yes, yes, you base them in a different way. So when you're preparing your pieces to sew them together, that's basting, holding the paper to the fabric, and you use slightly different stitches for each one, because obviously a curve is a little bit different.
That one there looks like one of Joe Carter's animals' faces, doesn't it? With the hair and the fringe and everything like that. OK, so, do you want me to read this out, or do you know how to do it?
No, I know how to do it. I've done it several times before, but thank you.
OK.
So then in the instructions, it gives you the cutting instructions, so how many shapes you need to prepare to do all of the blocks. I tend to... based all of my shapes, but if I get fed up, I might chop and change between. So I might do a bit of basting, a bit of sewing, a bit of basting, a bit of sewing, just depending on how I'm feeling and what I want to do.
Well, also it depends where you are. If you're sitting watching the telly, you might want to do one thing. If you're sitting up in your workroom, you might want to do something else.
Yeah, and you might. Sometimes I'll prepare enough pieces, say, to take on the train, so that I can make, you know, a certain number of shapes when I'm on the train.
Does that mean you've been sewing this on? Oh, you've not come on the train this morning, though?
No, I haven't, no. Yeah. So, and then it will say, and then it gives you instructions for each of the different blocks. So the grandmother's flower garden, how you put the hexagons together, the Dresden, the tumbling blocks. So for each of the blocks, you've got separate instructions for each of the shapes.
Okay, so hang on. So this was the Granny's garden, was it?
Grandmother's garden.
Grandmother's garden was there. Then turn it over. It's upside down that way. That's a Dresden, is it?
Yes.
That's a tumbling block. I know that much. That's
a windmill. That's what it is.
Windmill one that we had earlier. And then that's the heart, just single hearts. So you don't join the hearts together.
You've got single circles as well.
Oh, I missed the single circles. Do apologise. Okay, so
and then it tells you.
Another page.
Yeah, then it tells you how to put them all together. So you've got clear instructions on how to cut the strips, which I'll show you in a little while, and then how to lay it out to combine everything together with the sashing.
Now, is it important, for example, say I wanted my Dresden at the top and my tumbling block, I'll show you here on here, right? They've got the Dresden, where's it gone? There. And they've got tumbling blocks there. If I wanted my tumbling blocks there and the Dresden at the top, can you move them around?
Yes, you can move them around. Each of the squares is the same size.
Oh, OK.
And each of the rectangles is the same size. So you can play about, and you might want to play with colour and do different ones in different sections. OK, so would you make each of those sections first? Yes. Before they all put together? Yes, because I might change, I quite often change my mind when I'm doing layouts. Yes. So I would make each of the blocks individually, keep them safe somewhere, and then put it all together. We had a designer on the other day, and I was explaining how, for you, most of the joy is the putting out and spreading and then going, oh, no, I don't want that one over there. Then you ask your husband, he goes, I like that one, so you dismiss that one and things like that. I think it was on with Victoria, I can't remember now. Anyway, so let's... I do that, though. I ask his advice and then sort of go, oh, no, I like the other. Typical. I know. Right, OK, so... Now, remember, Lucy's using the spot bundle for hers, but we have also got the plain coloured brights, which I'll show you in a second. In fact, can I make room for them all? Oh, sorry. There's the spot bundle. That's the spot bundle. That's £22.95. You get half a metre of the papaya, half a metre of the marine, half a metre of the pink one, candy, and half a metre of the bottom one, which is more of an emerald green, but they've called it turquoise. Then I'm like... good for your stash, even if you're not going to make this, good for your stash. And then the brights are beautiful. You get emerald, charcoal, violet, magenta and yellow all in there. You get all of those for £15.95. You get half a metre of each. Graphic to the bottom for £15.95. And then the paper piecing, the kit, the set, is also £15.95. Right, we better get going. It's 1:15. Yes, we'll get going. So... the first thing that we want to do is baste our shapes. And like I said, you baste the different shapes slightly differently. Right. I'm just going to start off with the easiest, which is the straight-sided, any of the straight-sided shapes, really. So maybe should I cut it out? Make it easier. I'll just turn it around like that. So the first thing that you want to do is position your shapes on the fabric. I haven't trimmed my selvage off there, I should have done, really. And you want to pin it down. And when you cut out your shape, you need to add 1/4 inch all the way round. So when you're laying out your shapes on the fabric, sometimes I might use a ruler. When you get used to it, you can just sort of eyeball it. You want to make sure in between each shape you have at least 1/2 inch gap in between them. Yes, I am listening. So that, you can cut there and you've got your 1/4 inch seam for both of the pieces. So you don't want to do that. No. You want to make sure that you've left about 1/2 inch gap in between. You can measure it if you want to, but you'll quickly get used to. And you lay them all out? Like if you were doing
however many.
Yeah. So say I needed, so it'll tell you how many of those shapes you needed. So say I needed 10, I would pin them all to my fabric, and then I would just cut them out.
Yeah.
So I've only got the small scissors, but we'll just go for it. Yeah.
Well, they're only little shapes.
They are only little shapes.
You can do it with big scissors if you want, it's just we haven't got any here at the moment.
No. So I'm not too particular. Because I've pinned it to the fabric, I don't rotary cut these little shapes like this. Okay. I just do it with the scissors because I just find it easier. I am going to show you how to rotary cut some of the shapes in the next hour that I'm on, in the 11 o'clock one. So I'm not too worried about it being perfectly straight, but what I do want is to make sure I've got at least 1/4 of an inch all the way round.
If you've got too much, I suppose you don't want too much, because it's going to get in the way.
No, you don't want too much because it creates more bulk behind your quilt, but it's far worse to have too little.
Yes.
And you can always trim it down after if you found you've really, got far too much of a seam allowance. You can just trim it back.
Okay, brilliant.
So, like this is too much.
Yes, so
trim that side.
Do you know what? There's some spot fabric I've just picked up. It's a lovely quality, isn't it? It's a really, really fabulous quality.
It is.
This is beautiful. This is obviously the one that Lucy's chopping out of, but it's a really, really... Do you could use that for so... I mean, I know we're doing English paper piecing today, but the quality of that is really...
It is. It's lovely.
Beautiful. It's a spot bundle, remember? So you're getting 4 half metres of the spot in the 4 different colours. You get the papaya, you get, there's the still, you get the papaya, the marine, the candy and the turquoise, but you also get 1/2 metre of the white, the optical white as well with that one, for £22.95. That's the graphic across the bottom. This graphic up here is the kit. Anyways.
Yeah. So, I do love spots.
Yes, I do as well.
I add a lot of spots into my projects.
Yes.
I think it's a really nice sort of stash builder basic to have. So when I've cut out the shape like this, you can see I've got quite a lot extra here in the corner.
Yeah.
And so this is going to create quite a bit of a dog ear.
Okay.
So I might just snip. I'll probably do it straight like that. And just snip that back a little bit. Oh, you do that now rather than... Yes.
Michael, it's 622 you need, just so you know. The setting for the aircon is 622. I can tell he's put the wrong one on.
It's gone rather breezy.
No, it's going to blow
blow everything away.
If you're not careful.
Don't want it to blow all the paper away. So that's a shape like that. Now, sometimes, with the diamonds, for example... Right. I end up with quite long points, and I might trim those afterwards. Right. So it's really up to you. You don't need to worry about trimming them initially if you'd rather do it later on. So there are 2 different ways that you can... in fact, there's more than 2. But there are 2 different methods. So you can either baste it with thread, or you could glue baste. Right. So I'm going to show you thread basting first of all, and the different ways that you can do that. So you just cut a length of thread. General rule of thumb is to cut it the length of your arm.
Yeah, the whole arm.
So I hold the thread, whole arm. So I'll hold my thread. And
you did mean the whole arm?
Yes, and I'll cut it about there. So that will be the length of my thread. Okay. If you cut a really long length, even though you might think, it's going to mean I can do more sewing, you'll end up, your thread will tangle much more, and you'll get a lot more knots. So it's better to go a little bit shorter than too long with the length of the thread. So then I don't have a knot in the end. I've just left it loose. So all I'm going to do is fold the fabric over the paper and secure it with the thread.
Oh, okay.
Okay. So I fold it over. And if I've got quite a long length, I would put a stitch in between.
Would you iron it?
No.
No. Okay, just shut up.
Just fold it. There's no need to iron. So I'm pulling it through and just leaving myself a bit of a tail. Yeah. You can see that there. And then I tend to hold it with my finger just to keep that in place. And I just do a little stitch.
So you're going through the paper
I'm going through the paper and everything. Yes, everything. Through the paper. So I just do a tiny little stitch there. Just a big tacking stitch. And then I just go all the way around, fold the corners.
Right.
in.
Yeah, got that.
And then I like to come through and go over the fold so that I'm holding that in place.
Okay.
Like that. So the stitch is there. And then, again, this side, if you're working with a very small shape, you don't need to put a stitch in. But I like to just make it really secure, so I know it's not going anywhere.
These stitches are going to come out, though, aren't they, later?
Yes, these stitches are going to come out. So again, just folded my corner, and that one I'll just go in.
I think this would be very therapeutic. When I first started working at the Royal Ballet, I was given the job of, like, beading all the bodices because nobody else wanted to do it. And I'd sit in front of the telly for hours and hours while Brideshead Revisited was on first time round. And I just used to sit in front of the telly beading these bodices because I found it so therapeutic. And I think I'd find this exactly the same.
Yeah, it is. This is my activity of an evening when the kids have gone to bed.
Is it?
Yeah, just sit and sew. So I might put a little stitch in that corner because I did a big stitch on the back. I don't want that to come loose.
And when do you ring your mum then? What time do you ring your mum?
I'd sometimes speak to her in the day.
Oh, okay. I'm only saying because your mum watches, doesn't she?
Fold that over, she does.
And she's a bit worried that I give too much of my life away, isn't she? She's like, don't be telling him where he lives. Oh.
So there. So I've just gone secured that corner with a little stitch, and that's it then.
But you've got...
So I might want to come through to the front, so I've got both my ends at the front to make it easy to pull it out.
But don't you tuck this... Oh, sorry, can you see that? Let me just... Don't you tuck that bit away and that bit away?
Not while I'm basting.
Oh, okay.
No, I do that when I'm appliquing it down. Yeah. And you've got pieces to stitch to this.
Oh, of course you have,
So you need to do it to the side. You don't want that in the way. It's easier to have it loose, and then you can just move it as you're going along.
I just need to stop you there. I just need to stop you there, Lucy Brennan. I thought a third of these have gone already. We haven't even talked about them yet. We've only done one parallelogram. No, trapezium.
Trapezium.
And this is the pack. This is what you're getting. This is what you're getting. This is a little bit of this. No, there's no bit. A little of this and a little of that. There's no bit in there. Pattern plus paper pieces. Now, you get enough paper pieces in there to create the whole of this mini quilt, really. So you get the Dresden piece, the love hearts, the tumbling block, the windmill. Where's Grandma's garden gone? I can't see Grandma.
It's the hexagons. Yes, there's two. Yeah, that one and the one with the blue around it.
And so there's enough paper pieces and the instructions. I'll just take them out for what you get in here, right? So you get all the paper pieces here, right? All the paper pieces there, and instructions and more instructions. You get all how to put them together and how to place and everything. All of that for £15.95. But how many did we just say? How many pieces do we say? Just how many? Half, do you say, of them have gone? A third. Sorry, a third of them have gone already. A third.
And I didn't actually mention, but the company is Paper Pieces. They're an American company, and they do a whole selection of different patterns. We're going to be showing more later as well, aren't we? And it's really very, very good quality, and they really do know
what they're doing.
They know what they're doing.
And also, we're selling the bundle. We're selling the bundles of fabric because if you don't want to get our bundles, it does tell you on the pattern. If you just want to use your stash, then it tells you on the back what you need of each colour. So,
yes.
Where's the one you've done?
I've undone it because I'm going to show you another way.
Oh, this.
That one. Oh, that bit.
Hannah, just there you go. So this is what we've done so far. This is what Lucy's done so far on the train. She's done the hearts, we'll show you how to do in a minute, and then a windmill. And these are two of the sections, you see, which are going to go together. And then she's very proud of her tumbling blocks. We love tumbling blocks. We did this the other week. Listen to me, the royal week. Lucy did it, I watched. Oh, no. Hannah's going to try and do a tumbling block next.
Good.
Yeah. Well, she's done a makeup bag. It's time she did something else, isn't it? So basically, that's what we're heading for. So if you see on... Oh, hang on, let me just put it. So on the pattern there, you see all the sections. So each of those sections is that size, and then each of the rectangles is that size. So you're getting enough fabric to do all of that and more, aren't you?
Yes.
Pieces, right? Yes. Enough pieces to make them. But also, the kit, if you buy the bundle of fabric, you get more than enough fabric to do that.
Yeah, more than enough.
This bundle of fabric here, the spot bundle, have a look at it. We get the papaya, half a metre of the papaya. She's apologising for disrupting your sewing. Half a metre of the papaya, half a metre of the optical white, half a metre of the marine, half a metre of candy. Now, they're calling it turquoise, but it's definitely not turquoise.
We're calling it green.
Green, yes.
Yeah, jade. Jade was a very good description.
Pale jade,
Pale jade,
pale jade.
Good
Anyway, that bundle, £22.95, half a metre of each. Go.
Okay, so there is another way of thread basting, so I just want to demonstrate that as well quickly.
Yeah. So you haven't picked the
I won't do the whole thing, so I just pulled out the one that I did, and it's very easy. I will just say, even if you, some people don't like sewing through the papers, and that's what I'm going to demonstrate now. But even if you do sew through the papers, it is very easy to pull the threads out.
Question for Lucy from Anne. Oh yeah, can you reuse the paper pieces again for other projects?
Yes, absolutely. Yes, I took the heart out. I've taken one of the hearts out of one of the ones that I did there, and it has got little holes in it.
Well, it's going to have holes in it.
Yes, where I'd pinned it and basted it, but it's absolutely fine. It's not folded or anything.
According to Natasha, producer Hannah's heart is completely broken and pierced into two.
Oh, I know, that's awful. But you can reuse them more than once. It's when it starts getting very crinkly,
right?
And if you've lost any of the shape around the edges, then it's time to recycle the bit of paper.
You could almost, if it gets that stage, you could get your own cardboard or craft paper and draw around them and make some more of your own.
Yes, you could. The first quilt that I finished, the first whole quilt that I finished, I cut all my shapes out by hand from bits of paper.
Oh.
And
did you not enjoy that process?
It wasn't the most enjoyable process ever. It was okay, but I just used the cheap office paper, and so I couldn't really reuse the shapes.
You knew what you were doing?
A little bit. Yeah. And although the quilt's very beautiful, if I do say so myself, it's my lovely friend Claire's pattern. But it just is very time consuming, and particularly with shapes, it's fine for squares and anything that's got straight sides, but as soon as you start trying to cut out your own shapes with curves, it becomes much more difficult, and you lose some of that accuracy when you're sewing the things together. Okay. So that's why having the papers already cut out for you is so useful.
And also, sometimes life's a bit, life's too short to be sitting there cutting out a million hearts, isn't it? But
so look at me, I've already gone through the paper, because that's my default. Okay. So if you're not going to go through the paper, you just are going to catch the fabric. So you're just putting your needle. So you can see I've folded the corner there. Yeah. And I'm just putting my needle through that fold. Yeah. And so I'll do a stitch there just to hold the fabric in place. And you can tell I don't really do it this way very often, because I find it a little bit tricky, but there. So you've just got a little stitch there in the corner, and I haven't gone through the paper. Right. So you can baste your shapes that way.
So you only stitch every corner?
Yeah, so you're just stitching every corner.
Oh, that would worry me, that the fabric between the corners might move away from the
Well, you might want to go through the paper just in those bits and then just tack the corners. But I know some people don't like going... I mean, it will hold it, look.
Yeah, of course,
these shapes are reasonably small, so just doing it that way has held it in place, just going through the corners. But like I said earlier, I do like it I like it quite taut and stable.
Yes, I can understand, because when you
I do prefer going through the papers, and in the instructions, that's what they recommend to do as well.
But as you say, it's good quality paper that the first time you use them, you're not going to pull them out and they're not going to rip and things like that.
Yes, no.
Half the quantity have gone, just so you know, of this one. A little of this, no bit, Hannah, a little of this and a little of that.
And I will just say, if you do prefer not to go through the papers, you will need to make sure you've got the ends coming through, even if it's just through the fabric, because in this pattern you're appliquing them down.
Oh yes,
so you don't want to leave. Oh, mind you, you could cut it out after. I suppose it doesn't matter with the basting stitches. Ignore me. Right. It doesn't really matter. But if you wanted to pull your stitches out, you would probably need to do that. You could pull them out from the back.
So that's the second stitching method.
So that's the second stitching method. And then the alternative to thread basting is glue basting.
Right.
So glue basting, the advantage of glue basting is the ease, the speed, and if you struggle with you know, things like doing the fiddly corners and bits like that. It's just very easy to do it.
Okay, so the glue stick, we sell the glue stick there. It's the Sew Line water soluble glue stick with blue refill, £5.95. Now, you're not using a blue one because you're using blue fabric, are you?
No. I'm using the blue one because that's what's in
That's
it.
what we have. But the glue doesn't dry blue.
No. It dries clear. And it washes out, the glue washes out. It's a fabric glue. It's not like a stationary glue stick. It's not that, and I would never advise using that because it's too sticky.
Yes.
I have seen people do it, but it's too sticky.
But that's also going to ruin your cardboard if you use the
it
one I'm
would.
thinking
Well,
of, the one that I've got in my office.
Yes, and it could easily rip it, and then you're left with bits of paper in your quilt, which is not what you want. When I started, I always thread basted, and I do like thread basting if I'm not putting the pieces all together right away.
Yes.
So if it's more of a sort of a long-term project and I wasn't sure when I was going to get back to it, I might prefer thread basting. And for the curves, sometimes with the curves it's easier to thread baste, but I'll come to that shortly. But for the straight sides, it's ever so easy. So there are different methods that people use using the glue stick as well. Some people like to draw a line on the paper. I prefer to just do dots on the fabric.
Oh no, I've not seen that one.
So I don't do it on the paper itself. I do it on the fabric, partly because I like to have those corners stick down well. So I know if I put a little dab there, that's going to hold the corner.
Doesn't need much, does it?
No, it doesn't need a lot at all. And I think sometimes people use the glue stick and want to try the method and are very heavy-handed.
Well, it's like when they say, when you buy a new shampoo, isn't it? And they say, put this much on your hand, and you go, that won't work. So I'm like, and I'd be the same with a glue gun. I'd be like, just slather that glue
and
on.
if you do a lot, it makes it harder to peel away, and then people become discouraged about it and don't like it.
Okay.
But actually, you're only doing those little, you know,
and
if you just
your
do
pen's
little
going to last
dots,
forever that way, isn't it? If you just do little blobs like that.
Well, there you go. Yes. So it's
but
economical.
The pen does come with a refill as well, so you've got the one in the pen and a refill as well.
Yeah, but you can see how nicely that's just stuck down just from the little dots. So I just dot, dot, dot.
And you're only dotting the fabric. You're not.
I'm just dotting the fabric, not the paper.
You see, it just shows, doesn't it? All different people do different.
Yeah,
things,
do it different ways, and there's nothing wrong. You can do it on the paper.
Yeah.
It doesn't do. You know, it's just that I prefer to do the dots. So.
The fabric that Lucy's using is from the Spot bundle, going across the bottom of your screen there. There's a still to show you very quickly. You get half a metre of papaya, half a metre of marine, half a metre of pink and half a metre of green, plus half a metre of optical white. And that all comes in at £22.95. And it's really, really, really good quality fabric. OK, we're moving to pink now.
I'm going to cut out a pink bit, yes. Okay. So,
candy, this one, candy pink.
I'm going to do some of the different shapes for you.
Okay,
so we'll do the heart.
All right.
Because that is a little bit
trickier. Well, that looks more difficult, the heart,
It is a little bit more difficult. So again, I'm just doing the same thing.
Oh, so you even pin that one in place as well?
Yes, I always pin, because then you're going to cut it out. You don't want to hold it and be cutting it. It could move. Yeah. And you want to get that nice...
And of course, if you had big scissors to do it with,
quarter of an inch seam.
Then.
So I'm just going around the shape.
Yeah. Now, do you put the little cleft into the actual seam allowance as well?
I do, but I don't do it until I get there.
Right.
When I'm basting.
Yeah. Remember the fabric that we're using? Oh, well over half the stock of the a little of this and a little of that. Paper. I've got another one here as well, which I'll show you in a second. Right, I'll let you concentrate on this
So
one.
again, you could trim that little bit if you wanted to, if you were going to do that.
Yeah.
So
just mind there's a big pair of scissors by your elbow.
Okay, yes,
now.
thank you.
Don't knock them off the table.
So Are
you going to paper?
I'll
this one.
I'll show both.
Oh, will you?
Yes, just because I think it is interesting to see, because it does work slightly differently.
Well, I was going to say, you've got a curve.
So I want to show you, but I don't just want to glue it, because there might be people that, you know, really do prefer to use the thread.
Well,
so I'll
I
show
would imagine
both methods.
that traditional sewists That's why they do it, because they love the sewing. They'd be like, well, I don't want to use a glue. Which, you know, I would use the glue because it would save me time and everything. But there are people who do this as a hobby because they want to see sewing. Carry on, sorry. Don't
Absolutely. And that's what I really did. I love sewing, and so I did enjoy doing it using the thread.
Yes.
But then when I tried the glue, I just found it so much easier.
OK, now you're not going to the cardboard
what I'm doing now, no, so I've done a little stitch there, holding it in place, come back up through the paper, and now I'm just doing a little running stitch, like a little gather, just in the seam here. So just running through that seam. So I'm not going through the paper.
Yeah.
I'm just running through the seam there.
So kind of
so like
ease
a gather.
It round
yeah, just ease it round.
Cheek
and then
of the heart.
When I get to here, that's when I'm going to cut into the heart.
Oh, okay.
So you want to get it about 1/8. You know, you want to get really close.
But not right the way
into the way into the point. So just doing a straight line.
Straight line with curved scissors.
With curved scissors, just gone into that point there.
Oh, right. But not right down to the card, just about 1/8.
Not right down to the card, just about 1/8. Yeah, just a tiny little bit of a gap. So I'm doing my gather, and you can see there, as I pull the thread, it literally just pulls itself.
You're making it look very easy.
It is very easy, honestly, it is.
And then how do you hold those gathers in? Do you go through the card?
Yeah, so then I'm going to go through the paper.
Paper, I keep calling it card.
Yeah, it's okay. And just
sorry, don't say anything more, because I want to watch you do the next heart cheek on there. You need to check out your basket. So many of you got this in your basket at the moment. If you definitely want these, please check out your basket. We're down to single figures, which means some people could miss out of this kit, of the kit. I'll go through the fabrics, I'll go through the other kits in a second, but they're little bits of, there's no bit, a little of this and a little of that for $15.95. You need to check out your basket. We're down to single figures. Right, I'm going to let you do the next sheet.
Okay, that's okay. So then what I want, I'm just going to manipulate it slightly with my fingers to get that bit over. And I'm going to come, and it will fray because you've cut that section. So I'm just going to, sorry, I'll just move that out of the way. So I'm just going to come back in through the point there, and that's secured that gather there. And then I'm going to go back over.
So you do one stitch to hold it, and then when you run the gather
one stitch through the point, and then I'll run the gather again. Yeah. So just
is this a technique for, like, if you were doing a circle?
Yes.
Would you do the same all the way round? Would you do
I'll do it in a minute.
Oh, will you? I'm just worried about your timing.
All right.
It's nice to sit down like this, isn't it?
It is nice.
Anne says, thank you for showing us how to do the heart.
That's all right. It is.
Okay. Anne said thank you to Lucy and the cameraman for showing us how to do the heart.
Okay, yes, well done.
That's nice, Michael, isn't it?
So there we go, that's it really, and then you just carry on down, sew that side down, and that's it, that's the heart done. I'll show you very quickly. There we go. Yeah. So when you are appliquing this down, you can use your needle just to pull, make sure you're catching that fabric right at the back there.
Are we going to show any
appliquing
if we have time?
If we have time, yes.
Right.
So another way of doing it, I'm going to just undo that because it's easier.
Oh, okay.
In fact, I'll just show you. I might need to cut that because I've
basted it
so well. Well, I'm just going to show you how to do the heart with the glue pen.
Good, yeah, that's what I was.
So I'll just pull those stitches out there.
Check out your baskets, check out your baskets, check out your baskets. People will start missing out now if you don't check out your baskets. Do apologise.
And I'm starting to make a mess and it makes me anxious. Okay.
What's a mess?
It's okay. In fact, I'm going to have to cut another heart because I've clipped into that.
Okay.
I've clipped into it.
While you're cutting that, let me run through because you're just cutting roughly around the heart.
Just doing roughly around the heart, yeah.
2 different bundles of fabrics this morning. This one first, the spot one first. So you get 1/2 metre, and it's really good quality cotton this, 1/2 metre of the papaya, 1/2 metre of the optical white, 1/2 metre of the marine blue, I can't reach that far. Half a metre of the candy and half a metre of what they're calling turquoise, but it's actually green. Fabulous for your stash, even if you're not doing this. And also, if you get that whole... You'll have loads left over, won't you, after doing this?
Yes, loads.
Loads left over. £22.95. Now, if you didn't want to go for the spots and you wanted to go for something more contemporary, as Lucy said, you could go for the brights. Now, a quarter of the stock of the spots has gone already, just so you know. Right, now these are the brights, and they're gorgeous. The colours... You've got emerald green, you've got charcoal, you've got violet, you've got magenta, and you've got yellow. Is it not called sunshine? Oh, it's just called yellow now. But you get half a metre of each of those. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 2.5 metres of fabric you get there. 2.5 metres for £15.95. Now, we've had people multi-buying this kit, this set, this bundle. Right, OK, so that's that. And the paper EPP kit, you've got to check out your baskets because there won't be enough to go round now. Please, 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 if you want one of those, you can dial in and get it, but if you've got them in your baskets, you need to check out.
And I have to say, it's a lovely pattern. It's really well designed. But should you want to split it up and use these blocks in other projects in other ways, you absolutely can. Or make the pattern and then reuse it. Yes, you absolutely can. And they're a nice size as well. So I'll quickly show you the glue basting the heart.
Right.
So I've still got my pin in there. That's just where I've roughly cut round.
Remember the glue pen? Oh, it disappeared.
There's the glue pen.
There's the glue pen at £5.95. You do get a refill as well with it. And don't worry that it's blue because it does dry clear. Yeah,
so with this one I'm going to cut into that.
Oh, straight away?
So I'm just doing the same thing. I'm doing it straight away. The reason I don't do it straight away when I'm basting with the thread is because I'm moving it around. I don't want to be pulling on that area too much, yes.
But you're going to stick the curve
so
bit
I'm going to... no, I'm going to do the side.
Now, is there a technique to the way you push your fabric onto the cardboard, onto the piece of paper?
There is a little bit, yeah. When I come to the other side, as I'm doing this, I can show you.
Right.
So I just dot like that.
Yeah.
And then I'm just literally... So this is the technique, really, that you're using all the time. Just pushing it with my finger. And you can see I might need to move it into the seam. So I'm pressing it from the edge, okay? So it's gathering as I'm doing it with my finger. And then make sure I've got that little bit there.
Hilary and Andrew said the dream team back together. Hurrah.
Oh,
good morning,
thank
Hilary and Andrew.
you. So there we go. So that's one half done.
Yeah.
And I actually think that gives a more secure...
Well, it gives a very sharp edge.
Very sharp edge. So that's the side that I've basted there. And you can see how really nice and sharp that... Why are you laughing?
I don't know. It's one of the... I think there must be a colliding of stars or something today, must there? We're all a bit giggly and silly today.
So there, just keep going on the other side. I need to pull that one down a little bit. There we go.
So really, you're pushing the fabric. It's almost like doing. This might not because you don't do dressmaking.
No, I don't.
When you do a bias hem, you always make sure that the hem is facing on the straight, as it were. You don't go with the curve, and you're kind of doing the same with that. You're pushing it to the centre of the heart. Really, you're not kind of following the shape of it round.
Because what you don't want is to get the creases on the edge.
Yeah.
You know, you don't want to have it like looking square. So that's that one there.
Nice. Sweet.
So it's really very easy using the glue, even with the curves.
Okay.
So with the curves, so that what I've shown you there on the edge of the heart would be the same for the Dresden. So you would just put stitches through there and then do your gathering.
Oh, we'll just look at that.
Along the top.
Yeah.
So on the top there, you'd run the gathering stitch through the seam. You wouldn't be sewing through the paper.
Yeah.
And then you come down the sides in the same way. And then for the circle, and I have done applique circles before on the show, but the circle you do the gathering stitch, like you said, John, earlier, all the way in the seam and pull. And what I do is I go through the papers when I'm, I do one little stitch, run it through the seam all the way around the seam, all the way around the seam, pull it to gather it, and then go back in. And then sometimes I do my little trick with a piece of foil, wrap the foil round and put the iron on it, because that just helps give you that really sharp crease round the edge. So that's what you would do with that.
Okay, so then are we going to... So if, say you've done all your pieces...
Yes.
If they're hearts, you just applique them straight onto the white fabric or the background fabric, I suppose.
Yes, so you're not sewing those together at all.
But if you're doing tumbling blocks or the windmill, then you've got to
If you're doing the tumbling blocks or the windmill, then you've got to sew them together. So
and is that the next? Would that be the next stage?
I'll base these. I'll just base this one really quickly, and then I'll show you.
All right. While you're basing that, have a look at this, because you are getting the white fabric in this bundle. This is the spot bundle. Most popular at the moment, and I'm quite surprised because I mean I love spots. I do love spots, but I do also I'd buy both. You see, if I was at home, papaya, optical white, marine blue, candy pink, and what they're calling turquoise, but it's really pale teal green. Looks turquoise on the telly there, really, doesn't it?
Yeah, it's much more of a jade. Yes, you're right, a pale jade colour in real life.
All of those for £22.95, half a metre of each of them for £22.95. That is, we had a lovely message the other day going, they are stashalicious, John. They definitely are stashalicious. Even if you don't use them for your EPP, then you could use them for so many other things in your project box, couldn't you?
OK, so I've just done a very large knot at the end there. You don't need to do such a big knot.
No.
But I'll show you basting the pieces together. So if we do the windmill one, I can take my pins out now because those are basted. So I've got the two pieces and I'm going to sew them together. Now, when I do in the instructions, it says for the windmill to put them in pairs.
Right.
And then, sew them together. But when I'm looking at a pattern, an English paper piece pattern, I like to work out how I can continue sewing, the ways I can continue sewing, so I'm not having to stop and start. So with the windmill one, what I want to do is sew these two pieces together along here, and then attach my next piece and sew up through here.
Yeah.
So I'm not just sewing them into pairs and then sewing them together. I'm going to carry on and attach my next piece as I'm sewing. So English paper piecing is we use a whip stitch.
Yeah.
And so you're putting the pieces. I've got myself in.
Can you machine these? Could you zigzag them on the machine, or is that?
Yes, you could.
Oh, you could.
Yes, you could. You could. But the joy for me is sewing the pieces together.
Of course, yes.
Yeah. So you've got your two pieces like that. You're going to put them right sides together, and then you whip stitch over the top.
Right.
Okay. So.
And a whip stitch is literally. I'll let you do it, and we can have a look.
So I'm holding them together. You can, if you want to, put a clip in or something. Yeah. If I'm doing long pieces, I tend to do that quite a lot. And then I'm just going in. I'm using a thick needle and a reasonably thick thread so that you can see what I'm doing. If you're doing this at home, you want to be using a fine thread and a fine needle.
Right.
I like to knot my end, but you don't need to. You can just do a few stitches and go back over it to secure it if you would prefer. But I like to do a knot. And so I'm not putting my knot in the corner, I'm putting it a bit further down, and then I'm just going to go back over those stitches. Right. So essentially all I'm doing is catching the very edges of the fabric. Yeah. The very, very edges.
So there's no cardboard.
I'm not going through the paper. I'm just going literally on the folds where the fabric has gone over the papers. And I'm just sewing along there. You do want to keep your stitches quite small, quite close together. I'm doing it big so that you can see, if I get that out of the way, what it should look like, sort of thing. But you might want to keep your. I'd say that's about right, probably. But some people do very small stitches. It's a bit like handwriting, and you can count your stitches per inch to check.
We've got a ruler. I don't know if you've still got that Gutermann. We had a Gutermann thread pack that had a ruler in it to count your stitches.
Oh, right. Yeah. Oh, well, that would be handy, wouldn't it? Can do that. Well, I've got a little knot, but what I can do... Oh, can you... You see that little knot there? I put my needle in the loop.
Yeah.
She says. and pull, and it goes right up to my needle.
Yeah.
And then I just go through that and pop it out like that.
That's a little tip we haven't shown yet.
Have we not?
No, because you're the only one that's knotted your thread.
Oh, right. So I just carry on like that. So I've just got the stitches.
And then what's it look like when you
over
open
the
it
top?
out,
And then when you open it out, you're going to see these stitches because I'm using a thicker thread.
Oh, okay.
But it's like that.
Hardly?
Hardly, yeah.
So for each of the shapes that go on here, you would create... So you'd create that Dresden, you'd create that tumbling blocks like you have done there, you'd create the Grandma's Garden.
Yeah.
Please check out your basket for this kit. There's a little of this and a little of that. Please, please, please check out your basket. A little of this, a little of that. Pattern plus paper pieces, £15.95. So I've got another kit here. If you want, I'll show you that.
Yeah, you can talk about it in a second. But let's. There's two more things that I really want to show you. So appliquing the tumbling blocks onto the background, or any of the shapes onto the background. So you cut out the squares. It gives you the measurements in the pattern. And I like to fold the square in half.
Right.
Fold it in half again. And I apologise, my cat has been sitting on this back.
Oh, okay.
I caught her the other night. Amber, get off!
Amber's a cat, if you missed that bit.
So there, Amber is my cat, yeah. So there you can see, so now I've got my central point of the fabric there. So I can that's my, I can roughly put that there. And I can line up my points with the creases on the fabric and get that... nice and centred.
So you pin that to the background fabric, but your piece of paper is still in there?
Yeah, your piece of paper's still in there. So you pin that, and then you're going to applique it. So applique, again, you want to use a very fine thread, and that's got a knot in, and a very, very fine needle.
Yes.
Very fine needle. You can get specialist sort of applique threads. You can use a fine cotton. Traditionally... Well, you should really match the colour of your thread to the fabric.
So that one, you do a line of pink, then a line of green, then a line of blue?
No, I wouldn't, no. I mean, if this was all one colour, then I might match my thread to the piece.
Yes.
But what I would just use a neutral. And I tend to do that all the time when I applique. So I
have some neutral threads here. I can't turn around in my basket.
I would just use neutrals.
Yes.
For near enough all of my projects, because I find that easy. So,
yeah, I'll show you the thread pack in the next show because I haven't got it here. I'll show it to you afterwards.
So I'm going to come in through the back, and I'm going to come out through the seam of whatever shape it is that I'm appliquing.
So you're starting halfway.
So I start at the back. I always like to start halfway along.
Okay.
A shape, that's just personal preference. You don't have to. You can really start where you like, but you don't really want to start in a corner because it's a bit fiddly. I'd rather secure all my stitches, and then I'm just going through the fabric and back up through the crease of the shape.
Again, tiny stitches. Now, what's this stitch
Tiny
called,
stitches. This is.
Are you going to go back on it, or you just carry on?
No, I just carry on.
So it's like a little
so
running
just carry
stitch.
on, yeah. I mean, it's...
Oh, now, while Lucy's saying that, you'd have to come back to me. You'd have to come back to me. Carry on watching... I said you don't have to come back to me.
You want to be careful when you're doing it that you're not catching the paper. And this isn't like other kinds of applique where you could do... any other kind of a decorative stitch because you've got the paper in there.
There's only 5 of the kits left of this, a little of this, a little of that. There's only 5 of them left, just so you know.
So with this, you really want to catch...
allocation.
Yeah, just be catching the edges so you've got an invisible stitch there.
Lovely.
Now, if you did want to do a decorative stitch, you'd have to take all your papers out beforehand and then secure it down, and then you could do that.
Is there a reason you stitch it down with the papers in? Is that so it keeps its shape while you're stitching?
So it keeps its shape while you're stitching, and then what you need to do is chop the back out. So once you've appliqued it down... Yeah, I've done one. Once you've appliqued it down, you need to remove the papers from the project. So you can see there, I've just cut it out. So these ones are still in.
So are they glued or were they stitched?
So this has been hand stitched down. So these are sorry.
Basting at the beginning.
This one I did with thread, and the other two I did with glue.
Okay, I'll let you do it because I've only got a minute left. So.
Yeah. So I'm just going to
rush.
snip into the fabric. You can kind of manipulate it and fold it if you want to. And just cut round. So you want to make sure that you're leaving an edge. You know, you want to leave a 1/4 inch seam from where you've sewn.
Yeah.
And you just trim round. I'm not doing this ever so neatly.
Because when you do a big a reverse applique sort of thing, you'd use the duckbill scissors that we have, but this is quite delicate and small, isn't it?
Yeah,
so
they are quite small
use little
pieces.
snippers instead.
Yeah. And then I just need to pull that fabric away because that one was glue basted.
And the cardboard just comes out?
And it just comes out. It should, in theory, just come out. There we go.
In theory?
It's just because I'm rushing.
Oh, sorry.
There we go. Get that bit out there.
Yeah, don't rush it when you do yours at home.
No, don't rush it. I've just torn it slightly there. There we go.
But now, if you're going to use it as a wall hanging, could you leave the cardboards in if you wanted to?
I mean, you could, yeah, if it wasn't something... But then even if it's a wall hang, it might get a bit dusty. You might want to give it a wash. So.
Oh, yeah, I hadn't thought about that.
Yeah, so I would always take the papers out.
I've got to go over that side now. You're back in an hour.
I am back in an hour, ever so quickly.
Quick.
For the sashing, you're just sewing strips together, and then you cut them to get your sashing.
So that's called in between sashing?
It's in the instructions, but it's very, very easy to get these little pieces done.
OK, I've got 2 minutes to do a little roundup. That's the spot bundle that you want to buy there. That one is £22.95. You get the, forgotten all the names now, papaya, optical white, marine, candy and turquoise, which is really a jade. Half a metre of each for £22.95. They're just gorgeous, aren't they? Really, 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 really good quality. Fabulous, aren't they? Now, lots of people are multi-buying these now, so well done. £22.95 for half a metre of each of those. Give us a call or pop them in your basket. OK, now the contemporary solid colours are beautiful. Emerald, charcoal, violet, magenta and yellow. OK, we started with less of these than the spotty ones, but over half of these have gone already. £15.95. Half metre, half metre, half metre, half metre, half metre. 2.5 metres of really, really good quality. Solid bundle fabric there for £15.95. Do you know what? I buy those just for my stash because the colours are gorgeous. Have these all gone almost then, have they? OK, this is the kit. They've nearly... Check out your basket. Check out your basket. There are very, very few left. I think there's 4 or 5 of those left now. Give us a call, 0800 112 4433, sewingquarter.com. And I've got the other one very quickly if you want that one. Now, this one has got tiny, tiny, tiny pieces, but it is beautiful. The Star Bouquet, £16.95. We'll be back in an hour, Lucy and I. But for now, you've got lovely Amy back with a lovely Jenniffer Taylor with her hair up today. Clothkits, and you know how much I love the Clothkits. They're up in 3 minutes' time. I'll see you in an hour's time. Enjoy this, because this is a gorgeous dressmaking show.
Join us on Facebook. Simply search for The Sewing Quarter and like our page for the latest news and more. There are many ways you can watch Sewing Quarter. We are live every day on Freeview Channel 78 and online at sewingquarter.com from 8 a.m. till 12 noon. But if you've missed a show, don't worry. There are 2 easy ways to catch up. The first is through our website, www.sewingquarter.com, where we repeat that morning's shows throughout the day. On the homepage, you'll see our video stream. Click on the video to hear sound and see a list of the products that we have shown in that day's shows. The second way to catch up is on our YouTube channel. All our shows are kept on YouTube, so if you buy a product and want to see the demonstration again, you can. Go to www.youtube.com/sewingquarter, where you'll find all our shows listed by date. Select your preferred date, Then, using the description beneath the video, jump to the hour you want to watch. Then you can pause, rewind, play and skip your way to the bits that you want to watch again. Only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78.
Tune in to Sewing Quarter on Saturday the 1st of April for the launch of a truly fabulous quilt kit. Jo Carter will be here to show how to make Kay Fassett's extraordinary Half Moon quilt kit. If you love Kay Fassett's fabric, you will love this kit. The kit includes 43 different yarn-dyed woven stripe fabrics and 9 different yarn-dyed woven shot cottons from the Kay Fassett for Free Spirit range. That's nearly 12 metres of Kay fabric. That's over 13 yards. On top of that, the kit includes complete instructions, cotton batting and backing fabric. So join Jo and Kay Fassett's quilt kit on Saturday the 1st of April at 9 a.m. and 10 a.m. only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78. Did you know there are multiple ways you can contact us, even if it's just to ask a question? Our friendly team are always on standby. You can call our customer service team at 0800 112 4433, email us at help@sewingquarter.com, visit our Facebook page, follow us on Instagram, follow us on Twitter at Sewing Quarter, and even message us through our website, and our presenters will answer your questions live on air.
Lovely to have you back with us this morning at Sewing Quarter for the next hour with Jenniffer Taylor and some more dressmaking. So if you've just tuned in and you're wondering who I am, my name's Amy Burrows and I'm a new presenter here on the show. So I'm really excited to be here. I love what Sewing Quarter is all about, not just, offering you different fabrics and tools and things, but lots of inspiration for new creative projects and maybe a bit of encouragement to get started if you've not really sewn very much before. So in this hour now, I'm joined by Jenniffer Taylor again, and we're making this gorgeous vintage tea dress, which I really love. I think it's so summery and would just be perfect for a summer barbecue or maybe, a swing sort of event, a dancing or an afternoon tea, something like that. Really gorgeous fabric. You've got your cap sleeves, and we're also looking at this princess line seam here today. So this is a Clothkits bundle that we're offering. I'll just show you this. So this is a pattern that we've got. So this is just the pattern itself. You've got your instructions in there and all of your pattern to cut out for the dress. But we'll look at that in more detail with Jenniffer in a second. So the fabric that you see on the dress here today, this is an Amy Butler fabric. This is called Cocoa Bloom, really gorgeous. So it's sort of... The base of the fabric is a cream sort of colour, but then you've got really bright, lovely... colours coming through there in the flowers themselves. So you've got your blues, your greens, pinks, khakis and reds, and we're selling that today in a bundle. So it's coming with your interfacing, iron-on interfacing here, so you get 1 metre square of that, which is far more than you'll need for this project itself. You'll end up with lots left over. And also your thread, which has been matched really well with the fabric. So I'll show you the fabric so you can see. So in this bundle you get 3 metres of fabric, so that's 6 units. So it's a lot of fabric. I'll open it so you can see a bit more. There's a lot more there than that, but let's see. You get the idea. You get the idea. So it's really gorgeous. 3 metres of fabric, which is enough to make the dress in the pattern that we're selling today. In any of the sizes, so whether you're going for the small one or a slightly larger size, you'd have enough there. And you make a saving in buying it in the bundle. So rather than just paying for the fabric on its own, it's a great opportunity to save a bit of money and get your thread and your interfacing as well within that. So £42.95, and this is the Amy Butler Cocoa Bloom. So the other fabric bundle I'll show you now is this one, which is, I really like this one. Really pretty. So this is from Sevenberry. It's their floral fabric. So It's sort of slightly lighter in terms of the weight of the fabric compared to the Amy Butler one, but really lovely. You've got your flowers there. I'd say the main colours you've got coming through, you've greens and navies, but you've got lovely splashes of colour in the pinks, turquoises, blues, and little bits of yellow as well. Perhaps for a more traditional tea dress, this really would be absolutely perfect. So again, in your bundle, you've got your thread. This one comes with a navy thread and your metre of interfacing, which is absolutely plenty for what we're doing today. Great. So 3 metres, both sets of fabrics, Severnberry or your Amy Butler. And now we're going to go over and speak to Jenniffer and get cracking on the dress. So, hello.
Hey.
Here we go again, round 2.
Round 2, ding ding. Okay, so yeah, we've decided to step it up a little bit, haven't we, with the next cloth kit here. Again, it's still very simple in as far as the instructions are concerned. Really lovely, clear instructions showing you exactly what you need. Yeah. Just to recap quickly, it does come in lots and lots of sizes on the back. Yep, you go with that one. But I would always recommend that you take your bust, waist and hip measurement when picking your pattern. It's not your standard off the high street. They're not the same. They are apples and pears, completely different. But what I really do like about the instructions in the actual booklet is it's saying that just take your bust and waist. You don't need your hip.
Don't worry about the hip.
Well,
it's nice and flowy, isn't it?
Exactly.
It's not going to be figure hugging on your hip.
No, not at all. Really... So it's really lovely, fitted in the upper area because of the beautiful princess seam going down across the bust there. Nice and cinched in the waist, but then you have pretty much got a almost full skirt on this. And
freedom for really flowy.
Yeah, and when you said about going to like a vintage swing party, a dance, something like that, this dress is going to whirl on the dance floor.
It's got the movement to it, to
Absolutely.
that skirt. No, it's really, really beautiful.
So it's super gorgeous. And what I'd like to point out as well, there's a really, really lovely informative section here on about where you place your patterns on the fabric. And I'm going to go through it very quickly here with just the bodice section. But it is worth noting that if you have a larger size fabric at home, so you just want the pattern today, then you might not need as much fabric as we're giving you. The reason why we've given you the 3 metre fabric is because of the salvage to salvage width is a little bit smaller. So I think this is a 114.
Okay.
I need to triple check that for you, so we might get
if you were cutting it would need to be...
so you'd need to change the position of your pattern. So it would normally be on the grain, and we had a little conversation in the break about that, didn't we?
Just learning about
and I can explain that on the fabric here. But what I really like about my tea dress, because I've used the Amy Butler, is that I've actually cut the skirt part on the bias.
Yes. So you were saying that gives it the flow and
that
the movement.
Will rip. So not only a grain, because it's a full skirt, whether it's on the grain or not is irrelevant because it's a full skirt. So at some point you've got bias in it. But I've cut that skirt on the bias, so it's really going to swing around. So yeah, hold on to your hats.
Spinning.
Hold on to your hats. That skirt's going to go. So it really is going to move beautifully. And I think weddings as well. I think that I could quite easily
with a little fascinator or really perfect. No,
perfect. But it is a really simple dress. I would say it's for your go-getting beginners, where they're just diving in, or you're more an intermediate. Yeah, I wouldn't say it's experienced, but it's definitely not your super beginner. But if you want to get diving in, go for it because it is a really simple pattern. So just to go over that quickly about the grain and the bias and what that means. So I've just got a little bit of the
just
Amy
before
Butler.
We do that, I'm just going to quickly talk through the pattern. So your pattern is 12.95 JBCY 16. You get obviously all your pieces inside, your paper pieces inside. And the great thing about this, like the swing dress we had in the first show this morning, is that the instructions are so thorough and really colourful and bright. We were saying it's a bit like somebody's workbook. You know, lots of doodles and designs and tips and hints. And it goes through really, really clearly for you there. The pattern that we had in the previous show is nearly sold out, actually, the one from this morning. So just so you do know, if that's in your basket, make sure you check it out. These are really popular. They're super kits, aren't they?
They're lovely kits. They really are gorgeous kits. So I'm just demoing with the Amy Butler fabric at the moment. So this is it's Bright Heart or Cocoa Bloom.
Yes.
So I'm going to walk you through what I think would put a lot of people off. So with the first pattern with our swing frock, it was a simple front and back, no darts, nothing complicated going on in that area.
I might be able to manage.
You'd absolutely be able to manage that one. In fact, I'm going to make you do it in the next hour.
Test me.
Whereas this one, as you can see, it's got that lovely shaping across the bust area, and that's because it's got a princess seam in there. Now, but a lot of people go, oh, I'm not sure I could do this. It's a curved seam, and they can be a little bit tricky. So I want to demystify that princess seam for you today. So that's my first thing I'm going to be doing.
Okay.
And then the second thing I'm going to be doing, there's a zip, and everyone goes, oh no, I don't want to do a zip, no. So I'm going to be working through a zip as well. So that's what we're going to be doing today.
Okay.
So I'm going to take my pieces now. So we were talking about grain and bias.
Yes.
Okay, so this is your selvage edge. I know this because it's got the details of the fabric on here. It's a Free Spirit fabric by Amy Butler. It's Cocoa Bloom, and it's even giving you the types of tone.
I love when it gives you the colours.
Perfect.
If you can just cut that off and go and match it with solids or other things that you want to match in.
So it's always worth holding on to that little offcut there. But that's your selvage, and it is on the fold. So you've got the selvage here. So it looks a little bit different on this side. You can see that it is printed, but I know it's a selvage because of that sort of rough edge. It's not fraying. It's not going anywhere. So that's selvage. That's selvage. So that's been placed together, and then I've got it on the fold. Okay, so this means that the fabric would be going, this is the top and the bottom, and I know that because of the direction of the print. It's almost like you can see...
Growing.
They're growing flowers. So this would be the grain line of the fabric.
Yep.
And then if I go from the fold to the selvage edge, that's the cross grain. So it would be the warp.
So we're cutting across.
Yes, so that's the warp, that's the wet. So left to right is left.
Yes, I did remember
warp
that.
is up and down.
Left and
up and
warp
down.
goes up and down.
So with these patterns here, you can see, so this is my centre, this is the front of my garment. I can see that there because it says centre front, and it's telling me to put it onto the fold, which I'm going to do. So that's the first thing. Then this one here is also saying that it also needs to be in the direction of the grain. So when you're measuring these up, you need to make sure that this is directly parallel to either the fold or to the selvage edge. Either or. So we need to get a tape measure out. So I want you to grab that in a second. Okay. But if, like, you're going with the Amy Butler fabric, and I know that this one is the shorter selvage to selvage measurement.
Yes.
The skirt part, you're not going to fit. You need to put it on the bias. Okay. So what that would mean, even though this is telling me this is the grain, what that means is that you then put it on a 45. So it's always worth grabbing a quilting ruler.
Yeah,
because
so
on that,
because
on there you'll have not only your normal cross grains, but you'll also have, I think it's 45, 90. If you've got a tape measure, that'd be great. If you've got a quilter's ruler as well, Jay, actually, that'd be perfect. So I'll use that in a second. But on that, you'll have varying degrees on there.
So you can make sure that you sort of line that up.
Absolutely.
Oh, here we go.
There we go.
Here it is, just magically appears.
It's our lovely little helpful Jay. So on our ruler here, this is why, even though I'm a dressmaker, why would I need a quilting ruler? It comes in so handy when you're doing things like this. So as you can see here, you've got your what would be your warmth and your wet grains, if you like.
Yes.
But on there you can see it's got 45. So that would be my perfect angle. So if I put my quilting ruler on the fold of my fabric, I was almost...
Look at that! So nearly there.
Get a close-up on that. How good was that? But the thing is, don't trust your eyes. You can see I'm just slightly off.
Fractionally,
it was good though. It were good.
So that ruler's up on your the grid ruler is up on your screen there. So RDCQ96. That's your quilting ruler. Really useful though. Like you just said, for dressmaking.
It's just as good for dressmaking. So you can see now that even though this is telling me to do it on the grain, the straight grain of the fabric, I know this is with the side of my body, so I wouldn't be doing this. But imagine that this is a skirt piece, then this comes in super, super handy when you want to get that bang on 45-degree grain bias cut. Then your skirt's going to twirl. It's going to twirl. So it is really worth grabbing one of these quilting rulers, even if you're not a quilter.
No.
So I'll pop that to one side.
Rename it.
We should
multifunctional.
Multifunctional. So
or ruler.
Going back to our normal grains, if I just pop that way instead this time. So I know this is right because it's telling me to cut one on the fold. So I don't want a cut line in the middle of my bodice there. So that's in the right position. That's the first thing. So now it's about this second piece. So again, even though I was pretty good on that 45, I must admit, I did shock myself, to be honest. That was pretty impressive. I need to make sure that this grain is in line with my fabric grain. And then how you would do that is by taking your tape measure.
So you're going to measure here to the fold or to the
whatever's easiest for you. Yeah, closest to you. So in this case, I'll just go to the fold. So it doesn't matter really where you put it, but there would be a tip here before I go with the grain line. You notice here on the side of my bodice this pieces. So I've got my front and my side pieces. You've got these little notches here and here. These are going to match up when we sew them together.
Yeah.
So this is a great one when you're pattern matching. Okay, so it might be another reason to get your ruler in, actually. So what you want to do, if I was just to plonk this down and do the grain section, which I'm going to do in a moment, when I come to piece this together, my flower, they're not going to match up. So you want to get these as close to each other as possible. You're not going to be able to pattern match on the curve. That's impossible.
No.
But we know for a fact that at least the direct... Where that meet, you can get that continuity. So once again, if you get your ruler in place... And if I just bring it down to where my little notches are on my front one, so I'm concentrating on this one at the moment. Again, that's not a bad shout from an eye point of view. And you can also use your ruler to match up your grain line. So again, that's not a bad shout.
Eye training there, I think.
Practice
really
makes perfect. But even with all of that, and I'm really close, please don't trust your eyes. Yeah. Trust your rulers or your tape measures. So I know, not only with my quilter's ruler now, that I'm matching up, my pattern matching, because I know these notches definitely need to go together, but also that my grain line is correct because it's matching with the fold here and matching with the grain line. If you don't have a quilter's ruler, then this is where your tape measure comes in.
Good old tape measure.
It's just as good. So again, you might need to do that bit by eye, but the grain line, what you would do is take the tape measure and measure down. So that's telling me 9.5 inches.
So we just need to check that the other end
and then the other end needs to be 9.5 inches. Now I just moved that. So you would just move it accordingly. So now you know that's bang on the grain line with the fold. So that's how you would do it with a tape measure or how you would do it with a ruler. But either way, we're all spit spots. So now we can pin.
So now you've got to try and keep that really still.
So don't breathe. Pin. Nobody breathe. Turn the aircon off.
Yes.
Right, so I'm popping some pins in now. So I'm using these really long quilter's pins. So these aren't really appropriate, but I like pins with a head on it, and that's the most important.
Just so you can see them. Nice
well, one, I can see them. I find the other one's fiddly.
Yeah,
I like
something to hold on to.
Something to hold on to. I do like something to hold on to, I must admit. So anyway, let's put that in. So I'm not going to go mad.
Sort of corners or edges.
But obviously at home you take more time over it. So now once you've done that, then you're ready to cut, okay?
Yes.
So you would obviously do that with all of your pieces at some point, but I'm just going to do that now for the demonstration, all right? So I'm going to cut these out super quick.
Okay.
So I'm using our lovely...
so these are the Fiskars shears that we were looking at this morning.
Yeah.
Again, these are the spring-loaded ones, so you can keep your fabric nice and flat because of the angle of the blade there within the actual handle and the scissor. The fabric, you can see, Jenniffer can keep it flat on the desk. She doesn't need to lift it up. The blade's just going to slip underneath.
It's sliding underneath the fabric. So whereas normally you'd have the two blades working together like that, they're both moving. It causes a lot of movement on the fabric. So I mean, this cotton is behaving. It's being nice and...
The graphics for those are just along the bottom there, so $22.95. They're the dressmaking shears.
Is behaving, but if you're using like slippery fabrics, for instance, you really don't want your fabric to be moving at all.
Well, particularly if you've gone to the trouble, of checking that your notches line up, that you've
pattern matched,
your grain is all in the right place and the pattern's matching.
I mean, for certain, definitely for things like silk, then you can even go on to rotary cutters.
Yes.
That's the ultimate cutting tool as far as not moving your fabric at all because the pressure is on the fabric.
But keeping it in place, isn't
absolutely. Whereas these scissors, I just think they're great on the hands. Cutting out the work.
If you struggle with, if you maybe have arthritis or it's just, it takes some of the work out of it for you.
Absolutely.
The spring of the scissor there, rather than doing the repetitive action of lots of cutting.
Exactly.
It's doing it for you, which is great.
And even if you haven't got, like you say, the issues or ailments with your hands, and you just do a lot of cutting out, which I do, you do feel the difference when it comes to the end of the day, and you go, actually, my hands are
the scissors doing the work.
My hands are really sore. Whereas with these, I'm like, actually, that feels great.
Can't hold your cup of tea.
Well, it's great on not only this area of the hand, but also the wrist. So because the handles are lifted away from there. I mean, obviously this is quite a high table, but in reality, you would be lower down. Therefore, your wrist is in a more natural position, so it's more ergonomic as well. So they are. I know I keep chopping about the scissors, but they are lovely. They are really, really lovely.
No, they're always
so before I put these beautiful scissors away, the one thing that we haven't done yet is put our notches in. So that's we made all that point about pattern matching, but if I don't transfer those notches, it ain't going to make any difference, okay? So I'm going to make a little notch with my scissors. I mean, you could do it with...
So when you make it, do you literally just... You're just snipping
Snipping.
Okay.
So, again, with your instructions, it will tell you what your seam allowance is. So my seam allowance is a 1.5 in this pattern again. It isn't always 1.5, so it is always worth checking the instructions. And as long as you're making that small cut within that 1.5 seam allowance, it's fine. If you go in like that, then you're going to have a hole in the side of your dress. So if you're going to do the little notch with scissors, just a little notch, enough for you to see it, and then that's perfect.
Okay.
All right, so now I've done that, I can take this off.
Just quickly, before we do that, I'll just talk through, so you've got your size options here. As we were saying at the beginning of the show, you'll just go by a bust measurement and a waist measurement with this one. So rather than using your conventional dress sizes, it's not necessarily shop size 16. It's definitely, you know, worth getting the tape measure out and checking which one you have there. Then just from the little grid system, you can figure out which size dress you need to make. And the fabric bundles that we've got on today's show, they have come with 3 metres of fabric, which is plenty to make even up to the largest size. So it covers all bases.
So here we have our princess seam front bodice ready and raring to go.
I spy curves.
I spy curves, and you're right. So you'll probably, if we take... this side actually. You've got this one, which is the front of my right side of my princess seam, and then this is the side panel. I can see that the notches and the distance between here and here is the same, but if I was to curve this super slowly, can you see the difference?
Yes.
So
there's a height difference.
There's a height difference. By about just over half a centimetre.
Possibly even just more,
So this is where people get put off by princess seams, because you need to be able to ease those areas in together, because otherwise what people tend to do is just sew in a straight line. Then they'll either have too much in the shoulder area, so this section here it's too much, and then not enough here. Or it all puckers in this area, but you want it to be a nice, clean, smooth seam, like it would be a straight seam. Okay? So I'm going to walk...
So creating curves, aren't we? It's a shape. It gives the dress a lot more shape.
Well, if you think about fabric, it's just flat. It's only how you then apply a dart or a seam or a curve seam that it begins to become a structure. It's basically architecture in fabric. This is what we're doing, all right? So the first thing we need to do is do what's called stay stitching in the bodice. And I just want to triple-check we're doing it in the bodice.
Back to our instructions.
And
not... It's great to have your instructions just there, isn't it?
Absolutely. So as it's stating here, we're going to be doing a stay stitching. So it's this top section here that we're looking at here. So we're doing stay stitching either side of the front panel bodice, which I've got underneath the instructions, and it's from the notch up towards the shoulder. Okay, so I'm going to do that first. So you don't need to change anything with your stitching, but what you are going to do is stitch within your seam allowance. So either use the edge of the foot or less, because you don't want to see this stitching.
Okay.
All right, so that's the first thing I'm going to do. So I'm going to pop that in.
Let's have a look.
So I think what I'm going to do one side correctly and one side not correctly.
Oh, okay, so we can see.
So then you can see. I'm still going to do the stay stitching on this side.
So this is the thread as well that comes in your bundle there. It's like a sort of rosy pink, isn't it?
It's not peach, but it's
kind of almost a terracotta-y sort of pink.
It is
really,
lovely.
It matches the fabric really beautifully. That comes in your bundle today with the Amy Butler fabric, as well as your interfacing, which is just along the bottom.
Okay. So what I'm going to do, I'm going to put really horridly, I'm going to put a big triangle in this side. So you wouldn't do this normally.
No.
This is the side I'm going to do wrong.
Okay.
Okay, so I know that because I've put a big cut in it, right? Whereas this side I'm going to do right, okay?
This is obvious now.
Everyone's like, ah, at home, what are you doing? What are you doing? Right, okay, so same principle is right sides together, so as you would do a normal straight seam, okay? So the first thing I'm going to work to is my bottom to the notch, okay? So I'm popping that there and there. So that's still the same. So I'm popping some pins in, 1, 2, 3. So that's a nice straight edge. Nothing different or untowards there at all. So that's just your standard, okay? It's this section now that gets complicated, okay? So what I would do is start at the top, your shoulder. So this is part of the shoulder, that's the remaining part of the shoulder. Start with the shoulder first, pin that together. Okay, that's 2. So now if I bring these 2 together, you should see that one's bagging more so than the other.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Well, they're not the same length.
They're not the same length, so we need to ease that in. So the way I like to do that is take the side that's shorter, which is actually my bodice, my centre front one, and fold that underneath. So then you're easing it with your hand. The bigger section is over the top.
Yeah.
So you can see how my hand is here. If I bring it this side, I won't be able to pin this way. But the natural gravity or the curve is facing the way it needs to. So the excess fabric is this side, whereas if you do it that way, then you've got
You're playing with tights.
You're playing with the tight section, and you can't really control what's going on underneath. So because I know that this is shorter side, I'm going to put that under my left hand because I'm right-handed. Then that allows me to then manipulate the top layers and ease it in place, easier.
Yeah.
Easier.
Easier. Something like that.
So easing is easy, actually. It's just that I just find these little tips help. So I'm just going to go around with a few pins now.
And this is what creates that really beautiful and flattering sort of princess body shape, isn't it? You know, it's. I think it's a really feminine cut.
It's a beautiful cut.
And flat, because you can see there in that picture that it pulls it right in at the waist, and it just creates those curves in the upper body that are really, really gorgeous. I really like that.
It's nice, isn't it? And it is a very, very flattering
and again,
seam.
Yeah, and again similar to the swing dress, that capped sleeve is a very flattering arm line as well, I think. Just beginning to cover the shoulders.
Just slightly off the shoulder, yeah.
It's the detail. That
it is the detail. Definitely.
So we've pinned?
So we've pinned in place, okay, so you can see that's playing a lot nicer.
Yeah.
Okay, whereas if I was to pin the other side, I'm going to do this super quick. So again, repeating the same process where I'm putting the notches together first.
This is our
wrong side. Okay. So I'm just going to act as if this is a straight seam and just go in.
If you just whizzed it straight
through. So I'm just going to pop a few pins in place just so I can do that. Okay. And then I'm going to go ahead and sew these together, and then I'm going to show you what they look like.
What it could be and what it could be.
And what you can and can't have. Okay, so again, nothing changes as far as the stitch is concerned. It's still 1.5 on your seam allowance, or 4/8 if that's easier for the ladies who like the inches. And I know I prefer inches.
Do you? Do I?
I think you sound smaller. Do you know what I mean?
True. Yeah.
So the tip here while you're doing your eased in edge is don't be tempted to take your pins out I don't like sewing over my pins. Everyone who watches my shows knows that I don't sew over pins. But what you don't want to do, if you have got any areas where you've eased in, you don't want to be transferring that in to the next section of pins, otherwise you'll just end up with a really big tuck. You need to, what you've eased in those areas need to stay in those areas.
So you need to take it a bit
really
slowly.
Take it slowly, and before you get to your pin and your needle and your machine, then take the pin out. So I'm not moving this pin out until I get right where I need to go, and then I take it out. Otherwise you just keep moving.
But it takes away that sort of risk of you undoing the work you just did with easing it in.
So again, this is a good example here. So you can see how this is puckering on there. I've taken the pin out and it's puckering, yeah? That's because of where I've eased it. So if you have this, all you need to do is press the air out. Just press the air out, and that will remove any tucks or folds.
Good tip.
Okay, so I'm just moving that again. One more top. Last one, and then I'm just going to do a bit quick back stitch, done. So this is the right side complete.
Yep.
Now this side I'm going to do
the one that you really don't want to do.
What you really don't want to do.
Okay.
So I'm going to be super quick with this.
So this is a pattern from Clothkits. Again, so this is... I'll show you your kit here. Where have we got it? Got one here. Oh, sliding off. So you get all of your pattern inside, and then also a lovely instruction book that we were just showing you there with nice colourful pictures and diagrams and step-by-step. And all your patterns in there are on really... I showed you actually earlier this morning. It's printed onto a really thick paper, this pattern, so it's great if you want to reuse it. It's not something that's going to get damaged easily when you're, using it and pinning and things. Actually, there's a pattern piece there. I can show you. Is this the one? Yes. Yeah. So these are the. So you've got all your pieces like this inside that you can trim out. So this is just one that Jennifer's cut, but really nice sort of proper paper.
Proper paper.
Proper paper.
It's going to last you. It's absolutely going to last you. Okay, so I've sewn my seams together. Okay, so this is my wrong side. We don't want to look at that one, and this is the right side. So before we do any pressing of any sort, we're going to clip into the curved areas. So very similar to like we did on the swing dress this morning. So the curved areas here need to clip. If you don't clip them, then they're not going to. They won't lie flat when you turn it the right way around. So you just need to do the.
So this is your right side that we're doing here.
So the right side, this is the correct side.
And about every centimetre or
so?
so?
Centimetre or so. And these are straights and that's straight, so I'm not touching those, OK?
Oh, OK, so you're not going to go all the way.
Even though I've done this wrong, I'm going to pretend that I've done it right and clip.
You can even see in how it's just laying there.
You can see how it's fighting it.
Yeah, there's some resistance.
Well, this is where you're going to get bulging, and you want them to be smooth as if they're a normal straight seam. You don't want bulging or puckering in there, but you can see straight away from that it's fighting it. It doesn't want to be in that position because that under fabric, that under fabric here is wanting it to lie in a position that the top layer doesn't want to go.
It doesn't look comfortable. The fabric looks like it's screaming to be moved.
And then the blaringly obvious section here, you can see what we're talking about now. Once we've sewn it together, you've got that sort of ½ centimetre difference in the shoulder area, which means the neck area will start going. If you were just to trim that off, then you'd start adjusting your neck and your shoulder. It will throw it all off. Yeah. Because this side will be correct. If we're going to sew it up as it is, this side would sit nicely, whereas this one will start pulling a little bit in that area, so it will feel awkward. So now this is where we need our mat.
Okay.
And our
iron.
Oh,
and this is where we bring in this.
Yes.
Not a doorstop.
No,
it's not a doorstop.
This is not a doorstop. So, again, to perfect your curved seams, this really is the sort of must-have
This is your best friend.
Of your sewing room, absolutely. So if I get it on the mat here, I think that might be easy to show people, if that's okay. So as you can see, it's got a nice, it's a really firm, solid, it's not spongy, it's not a pin cushion.
No, it's a pressing ham.
It's a pressing ham, and it's got a curved edge. Now this is great for shoulder seams, bust areas, whether you're doing, like you say, your darts, for instance, would be a good one. Or, in this case, princess seams, where you've got a curved edge.
So it's creating the shape.
Exactly. So if I take my correct side, that's the wrong side, correct side, what we need to be doing is placing our garment on the ham.
Yeah.
And again, we talked about pressing and ironing, they're two different things. We want to be pressing this fabric in the correct place. So we want to be pressing these seams open. So I'm just going to grab that.
And we're doing all the sections, not just where we've made the cuts.
All the sections. So that's the first section done there. So now I'm going to get into a position on the ham where it kind of fits the area that I'm trying to press. So that's a good fit on the ham. So in the ham, there's different areas. So this one's shorter, that part's bigger.
Yeah.
So there's different curves on there. So you can use these ham.
See where it fits for you. It's almost replicating a body, isn't it, really?
Exactly. Well done.
Create the shape.
That's exactly what it's doing. It's replicating the curves, the natural curves in the body. So you just need to keep finding where's best for you. So that's a good shape there. Just turn and find the areas that you want.
And there's some real weight to the pressing ham as well. I think we were saying it's filled with sawdust, isn't it? And you can use it. Janice Hobbs was actually showing me that you can use it to press, to sort of bang darts.
Bang darts
into shape and things, can't you?
Because certain fabrics, like you say, don't want to play nicely. Sometimes you do have to beat them into submission. No, it's absolutely true. So when you're working with things like wool, for instance, or heavy linens, you almost want to break the threads metaphorically because you want to snap them
to shape it where
they want to be, whereas this is playing very nicely. So there's our ham. So you can see we've got a nice curve now. So if I bring this around, can you see that now? We could almost do with a mannequin there. So you can see that beautiful...
Already we've got that shape there coming in, as if a body's starting to... You can see where the body's going to fit in
the
there.
Shape in there, and that's where the ham has done that. So if I was going to go in with the other seam and use the straight one, you'll probably find that you'll start creating creases because you haven't got that curved edge to work with. You'll end up
there's less fabric to sort of
definitely. So I'm going to go in with not the ham.
You can even see when it's laying down that you've got that the shape is starting to sort of.
So when you're doing this, if you didn't have a ham, you're having to. Oh, it's folding. It won't go where I need it to go. So then you're almost having to get under and almost
fingers,
yeah, and almost do that with the fabric. But then by doing that, you're over-pressing it then, and you're making it more pointier than it should do. So this is where the ham really comes into play, because I've come to a point now where I'm going to have to press a crease in, because there is no other way of kind of getting in there. It's just a lot more fiddly. You're more likely to burn your hands, create creases. So I'm giving up and getting my hand back in.
So this is the hand on your screen at the moment there, FSGQ19. That's £11, and it's just creating those curves so much easier. It's just a great bit of kit to have.
Because it's hot, it's doing what my hands were trying to do without it. And I can concentrate on my seams above. Whereas, obviously, if you're on a flat surface, whether it's a little mat like this or your ironing board at home, you just can't get it. You really can't get it. So there you go. There's our 2 seams.
Lovely.
I'm going to flip that over. So you can see how here we've got a nice shape in the right, and I know it's the right side because we haven't got a cut there. Really nice shape in that curved seam here. Yeah. Whereas on this side, it's not bad. However, it's pulling the fabric. So when you actually have it on the body, you'll see a difference. It will be falling differently. It will be pulling differently. There's a difference in the shoulder seam.
This height here.
This height here. So even though it looks pretty good because we've pressed the hell out of it, it won't sit right. Once you've washed
on a body, it's not going to sit right. The same way.
Whereas this one, you can see straight away you've got that lovely curved shape in the area there where it needs to be.
Also, I know it's an obvious question, but obviously, is it impossible to match up a pattern when you've got a curve? You can't match up a pattern when you have a curve like that, can you?
On straight seams,
you can match it.
Because you're going against the straight seams. But if you're doing that, which this one was doing that, it's impossible. It really is impossible. And if you do try to match, then again, it'll be almost sewing the way we've sewn the dart in. It will start pulling. Don't try to match something on a curve because it's not going to work.
It's not worth the it doesn't exist. It's not going to happen.
So the best thing that you can do, as you can see from here, if I just flatten that out a little bit, is that you can see that my flowers are in a row. That's great pattern matching because it's all in a row. And we know they're in a row because we did the little trick with the ruler or we did the trick with the tape measure. So as long as you're the bold fabric, so straight away from me, I'm seeing the pink with the red, eye floral. As long as you're getting your florals in that line, so even here, they're not matching, but they're in a line around a sort of curved shape.
So it still is purposeful cutting.
Exactly. So as long as you're getting that, then you're good to go. So that's your princess seam.
Great. I'm just going to go over and look at the fabrics. We'll pop back in a second and carry on. So this is the dress, the finished dress in the Amy Butler fabric that Jenniffer's made for us. It's just beautiful. I absolutely love this dress. I just think it's so summery. What we were talking about with the movement of the skirt there, it really has got that flow to it. Just really, really pretty, very feminine. And obviously, looking at that princess curve that we were just putting in with the pressing hand, just really creating those feminine shapes and curves there. So it's hugging in at the waist and then flaring out over the hips really, really beautifully. So that's the Amy Butler Cocoa Bloom fabric. I'll show you the bundle. So that comes with... it's paired up with a couple of other bits and pieces. So you've got 3 metres of fabric in that bundle there, which is plenty to make the dress in any of the sizes on the pattern. You've also got 1 metre of the iron-on interfacing and a thread that's just been matched colour-wise with your fabric. So we were actually, Jenniffer was just using that actually on the machine that we were showing you there. So it works really, really beautiful. And the pattern that we've used for this is... oh, we're on the other side. Let me just grab it. So the pattern is the Clothkits pattern, and you've got all your info inside. This has been really, really popular today. The instructions in these patterns are really fantastic. Lots of sort of bullet point notes of how to do it, tips. I think it's the colourful diagrams that are really helpful here. It just makes it a bit more interesting rather than sort of trying to figure out where everything's at. It's
nice and clear,
really nice and clear and obvious. And all your sizes on the back there as well, so you can figure out which one from which measurement you are. You can figure out. Half of the quantity of these patterns have already gone, so if you do want it, just make sure you check it out in your basket. Don't want you to miss out. That's the Clothkits pattern there, JB CY16, and that's £12.95. So remember as well, you only pay one lot of postage and packaging at Sewing Quarter, so £2.95 a day. If you want to add different things to your basket as the shows go on, or maybe later in the day you realise that you want something else, you can add that, and the postage and packaging is capped, so you'll only pay that once, one lot of £2.95. So if you want something that's in your basket, just make sure you check it out. So we've also got this other option for the pattern that we're working with on the vintage tea dress, but in a slightly different fabric. So this is from Sevenberry. Again, we're offering this in a bundle today, so with your threads and your interfacing. 3 metres. I'll open this up so you can see a little bit more than enough there to make the dress. Really, really gorgeous sort of blooming and blossoming flowers. Lovely, perfect for spring, summer. It's a really lovely design. $38.95 for that bundle, so it's a slightly different price to the Amy Butler one. The floral fabric, interfacing and thread bundle, LDGC07. And remember, you can also give us a ring if you want to ring the call centre, 0800 112 4433. You can place orders that way, or by going to the website. If you look, if you go to the Watch tab, just underneath where you'll see the live feed of Jenniffer and I, under there are all the products from today's show. So if you want to add anything to your basket, then you can. You might also just be able to see, we've got something here. This is the kimono that Jenniffer did in a previous show with Natasha. So this is another Clothkits pattern, which we're loving today. So this is the Clothkits kimono pattern. We've only got a few of these remaining, but this is really popular last time it was on, so we thought we'd bring it back in case anybody's still keen. OICY26. So this was on Wednesday the 22nd, and there was a whole show on how to make this with Jenniffer and Natasha, so you can always go back to YouTube and watch and see all the step-by-step guide of how to make it. So this is your pattern here. Again, all your info on the back sizing-wise, and similar to the dress that we're working with today, all those great instructions, step-by-step, simple guide to get going. And I think as well, this is another great project for a beginner because you've got no difficult sort of zips or buttons, pockets. It's just really, really straightforward and really summery. It'd be great with jeans, or maybe if you want to have a go with pockets and maybe adding something, then that's something that you could do. But it was just really lovely for a to throw on in the summer, just, you know, sometimes, or if you're on holiday, sometimes you want something to take out in the evening if it gets a bit chilly, and I think that would be absolutely perfect. So I'm going to head back over to Jenniffer and we'll carry on with our lovely dress. So, cool. This is the pattern we're doing today, the vintage tea dress Clothkits pattern, and everybody's loving it, very popular. So
it's gorgeous, isn't it? And it's even more gorgeous with that fabric.
Yeah,
definitely.
It is just...
It's perfect, isn't it?
Yeah.
I see that sewing.
It's so eye-catching, and I just think the colours...
Well, both, even with the sort of ditzy pinky blue flowers that you have as well, the alternative one. But I'm a lover of bold, so for me it's the Amy. But hey, we all have our favourites, don't we? Okay, so the other tricky part of the pattern, if you like, even though the instructions are great and people would maybe put off with, is a zip. So again, I want to demystify the zip for you, and I'm going to do it by machine. Okay. So I've got my little example here. So I've just done it in miniature, so you can see what I'm up to. So you can see that you can't see any of the teeth of the zip. You can just about see the little
peeking through.
Yeah, the little holder of the zip. So I'm going to unzip that for you so you can see that it is a zip. It's not a seam. It does open, but it's just a really nice, clean way of finishing your zip, especially if you can't find your invisible one, which I couldn't. So this is a bog standard. If I just bring this one in, this is a bog standard zip where you can see all of the teeth.
Yes.
I bring that open like that, so it's not an invisible one, but I'm going to show you how to get away with it.
It pretty much is invisible.
Apart from the top.
Yeah, you know.
So it just goes to show, if you can't find your invisible one, you can just use a normal zip. Absolutely. So the first thing we're going to do, if I just put that to one side, you've got to imagine that this is the back of our dress. Okay.
This is a bit for me, but
I need your imagination.
I'm not sure if I could do the zip. That's the bit that would be scary.
You can do the zip. I promise. I assure you, you can do the zip. So if you can use your imagination.
Yes.
This is the back of the dress.
This bit.
Okay, the back of the dress, there's 2 pieces, and I've put the right sides together, so this is the back seam.
Yeah.
Okay. Now, in the instructions, it's actually saying that you need to sew down a little bit. So normally a dress would finish right at the top of the nape of the neck, so it opens up at the back, whereas this one is actually, the facing is full, and then the zip comes after.
Okay.
So if I get the... Where's the instructions? Where's my instructions
Where have they gone? Oh, I might have stolen them.
Have you pinched them?
Oh... Well, here they are.
Pinch them. So in the instructions here, there you go, that's a good picture. So you can see here that you can see the neckline has been sewn. Yeah, and then you've got a little sewn section here, then you've got this opening. This is the section that I'm talking about now. That's where you'd be putting in the zip.
Okay.
So sometimes the zip would go all the way up to that neckline, so you wouldn't have that sewn section in there at all. It would be open.
Yeah.
Okay. Very similar to our frock dress in the morning.
Yeah.
Whereas this one, you can see that it has been sewn down as per the instructions. Okay, so I'm just going to replicate that on there.
On here.
Okay, so
Okay.
but I've done that by creating a little notch on my fabric. So that's our, imagine that's our neckline here. So there's our notch, that will be telling me where I need to sew
match it
down
up.
to. Yeah, okay, so you sew down to there. So then you take your zip and you place that next to that notch. So I can see that's where the sort of fastenings, the plastic fastenings, are telling me to tell the zip to stop.
So that's the piece we line up.
Yeah, so I'm just lining that up there and I'm going to work my way down. So imagine this is a really, 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 really long zip.
Yes.
Obviously it's not, but I knew it would be worth
But
doing.
it's just easier on the table,
Absolutely,
isn't it?
so you can see what you're doing. So you can see that I've made a similar notch down the bottom, telling me where the end of my zip is, and you can see that I've actually gone past the plasticky bit. It might be metal on yours, but just make sure that you are nowhere near that section, because we're going to be sewing over the zip, and I don't want any broken needles.
No.
Okay, so this is a plastic toothed zip, not a metal one. Okay, so if you have a metal one, do not sew over it anyway, full stop. Okay, do not sew over that zip. But definitely don't sew off the very, very end section.
So this notch here is above,
It's just slightly above. Yeah. Okay. So now I've done my little measurements on my zip, I can take that out of the way. Okay. So what we're going to be doing, I'll show you here and I'll show you again on the machine. We're going to sew down here with a 1.5 seam allowance with a standard stitch length. So whatever the machine will give you when you turn it on.
That will do.
Okay. When you get to this point here on the notch, this section here on the notch, from that point to this point, you're going to extend your stitch length to the biggest the machine will give you.
Okay.
And I think on this case it's 5, and we'll check that when we get over.
So why is that?
So this is going to be our basting stitch. It's all going to come out later. So if you keep your stitch at the same stitch length, a small one, it'll be a
pain to get out.
A pain to get
so
out.
So it's like tacking it. It just makes it easier for us to...
Exactly. Good recovery. But it will be an
It's just easier
absolute... be a nightmare to unpick. So to make it easier for you, give yourself a big stitch, go all the way down until you get to here.
Yep.
And then go back to the original stitch line and then continue the rest of your seam.
So sort of creating that either end section.
Either end of your zips,
Yeah.
exactly. So I'm going to go over there now. So just repeat that over
So
there.
far, so good.
So you with me? I've not
with
lost you so
No,
far?
you've not lost
Great
me.
stuff. So if I'm on my machine here, so I'm going to skip down here to my stitch sizes. So you remember this for me.
Yeah.
2.2 is my standard one.
Okay.
That's how it was when I came to the machine, okay? So I'm going to stitch towards my first notch, and I am going to do a back stitch when I get there. Now I'm going to increase my stitch length. So I'm going to keep going. So it's giving me a 5.
Okay.
I'm on a 5 now, okay? So now I'm going to sew down towards my second notch, which is just there. Coming up, coming up, coming up. Stop. So now I'm going to go back. What was it?
2.2.
2.2. Back down. 2.2. And I'm going to stitch a little bit forward, stitch back a little bit, locking that in place, and then right down, and however long the skirt is. So imagine we're doing the skirt part now, so it's all done. Okay, so that's the first thing. You are now all done and dusted.
Okay.
So once you've done that, then you would go in with the iron and press that seam open. I'm not going to bother getting the iron out. I'm just going to do a very quick finger press, and that's just where you use the edge of your nail to make it behave.
Okay.
Okay, so that's it. You're done. Right, so once you've done that, now you can get your zip. So you want to keep your zip closed, and you want to place it at the top where your notches were, and you want to get your zip teeth on in that area
seam.
where the seam connects with each other. That's where you want to go with it.
So in the opening. So if you press that, it would be even more obvious where that's going to line up.
So where you've just sewn is where the teeth of the zip would go, and I'm going to pop a pin along my zip like so. Okay.
Lovely.
And I'm going to do that again on the other side.
So this is the Clothkits vintage tea dress that we're doing this morning. It's a paper sewing pattern, $12.95, and then we're also selling the Amy Butler fabric in a bundle with the interfacing and thread if you wanted to use that for the kit. So you get 3 metres of fabric in there.
Okay. So once
Which is your graphic just at the bottom.
Sorry, John, I didn't mean to
That's
interrupt you. So once you've gone in with your pins, so I've just pinned on my seam allowance. I've actually not pinned to the main fabric.
Yeah.
Okay, so I've just done the zip and the seams, that's it. Now, with a needle and thread, I would go with a really non-similar colour. So I've gone with a really bright blue on this, dark blue on this, so I can see my threads because they are again going to come out. They're temporary. Okay. But I'm actually going to baste this in by hand, so I'm not going to the machine yet. But this time you do want to go through all of the layers. If I just flip that over there, can you see that stitch there? It's there. Yep. So if I do another one.
So we're going through the press open seam, the zip, and the actual fabric
and the main fabric.
Itself.
And you make these stitches quite big. They don't have to be
just to hold it in place.
Yes. You see, there's a little run of stitches going on. So I'm going to just keep going down to the length of my zip. Oh.
Well over half the stock of the pattern's already gone. This is a really popular one this morning, with that
gorgeous.
princess line seam there on the bodice, and then the really lovely flowy skirt. So if you do want it, just make sure you check it out in your basket. Don't want you to miss out.
Okay, so I've just done the one side. So now I'm going to flip over and do the exact same thing with the other side. So you can see how the zip is kinking out here. So I want to make that play. So it might look like it will pucker slightly, but make sure the tape is at the edge of the seam. If I just make the stitch and then I'll show you what I've done. So they say I've made that play now. So it's sitting along the seam edge, okay? So now you can carry on. Exactly the same down the other side. So that's one.
Great.
2, 3.
Got just under 5 minutes.
Right, let's do it. Super quick zips.
Okay. Looking good.
So once I've done that, tacked in place. I'm just going to get rid of my needle so I don't break it under the machine. Pop that on there.
I like that pink cushion. Is that yours?
I just don't teeth it. So right now, I can't get to my zip. So you wouldn't want to sew like this because you've got this big lumpy bit at the top.
Yeah.
Which means you're going to have a big lumpy bit when you come to sew. This is where you need a super sharp unpicker. And luckily we have one. Here's one we made earlier. So this is out of our little sewing kits, isn't it?
I haven't seen some before. How do we do this?
Right, okay, so what we need to do now is find out where our notches are. So remember when we made these notches in the side of our seams? Yeah. So there's a notch there. I'm just going to pop a pin through that notch so I can see it on the other side. Oh, give me a bit more metal. A bit more metal. So you can see it on the other side. I'm going to quickly do that again here.
This unpicker is actually, if you spend over $14.95 on your first order with Sewing Quarter, then we get over £10, sorry, then you get this sewing kit, which is worth $14.95. So your unpicker is in there. If you, we'll get it all muddled up. If you if you haven't ordered anything with us before and you think maybe you fancy trying one of the dresses that we've spoken about today or some of the fabric bundles, then you get this, and the unpicker is in there.
It's coming there. So I've gone in a little bit with the sharp end of my unpicker and just unpicked a few stitches, and I've stopped, and the reason being is on your unpicker there's a little red ball. That's actually a safety ball.
Oh, okay.
Okay, so some people go in like this with the sharp bit going down, and then you might find that you end up nicking your fabric. Yeah. Whereas if you go in with the red side, that's actually pushing the threads up and away from the fabric, so when you just go in, you can just go without ripping your fabric. So not many people know that red ball isn't just for it's actually a safety feature when you're unpicking.
So you put that in as opposed to the sharp edge.
Exactly. So you glide through. So now I've got rid of my basting stitches. They have all come out now. Now I can go to my sewing machine.
Okay.
So the first thing I'm going to do is just open my zip up a little bit, so there you can see I can get to my zip now.
All of a sudden we're starting to look like this.
All of a sudden we're starting to look like that. So I'm going to go in. You can use a zipper foot on this, but if you haven't got one at home, then there's nothing stopping you using your standard foot. It's just that you need to move your needle. And by doing this, I'm actually using the stitch width. I wouldn't need a width on a straight stitch, but it actually moves the needle. So if I just do that very quickly, I'm moving it over.
Okay.
And you might be able to see the needle moving?
Yeah, just moving. I can see that there,
yeah. Brilliant. Okay, so I'm going to do that.
Standard
foot, and you're going to go down. So it's a straight stitch all the way down. So you're going to take this super slow. You're butting up the zip against the teeth of the feet. So when you get to this section, you don't want to be sewing around it. So put your needle down, lift your foot, and then move the zip.
So you don't sew past it. You move it around.
So I just need to sew a little bit more because I've not got enough zip on the back side. So if I just go again, lift the foot, and now I can pass the zip easily, and I haven't made a kink in my sewing. So I'm going to keep going down. So there it is. So this is where you're going to go over your zip now. So this is where you need to take it really slowly. So needle in, lift the foot, rotate. I would hand crank this section because you're going over a zip.
Okay. So this is just this is above or below the tiny little plastic catch at the bottom
above.
of the zip?
Remember we made that little notch in the side of the fabric and the pin was there? I removed the pin, but I can feel where the plastic is, so it's fine. And I've just checked I'm bang on so I can carry on. So I'm going to go right down this side now. Great. Again, I'm coming up to my zip, so needle in, lift up,
wiggle around,
past the zip. Coming up to the top. Now on this section there is no plastic section, so I can just go straight across and go straight across with the machine. And I'm going to, that's one stitch too many, so I'm going to back that, twist around, and I'm going to go down a little bit, reverse a little bit, and you're done.
Great.
So that, my dear,
that is...
Once you've taken out your basting stitches, that is your zip done and dusted. How simple was that?
So it really was a lot more straightforward than
You're like, I don't want to do it.
I was like, this is all completely hidden. I can't even see how you've attached that. But it is really straightforward.
Really simple,
really
nice
easy.
way. So if you haven't got an invisible zip at home, don't worry. You can use your standard
Just
zip.
a normal
This
zip,
is a little treat
and it's hidden anyway. So the the zip itself, and obviously this isn't in the dress. It would be a slightly longer zip.
Yes. So I think it's a 50 centimetre zip that you need for your dress, because obviously you want to go past your waistline and also past your hips so you can get it on.
Okay.
So yeah, it needs to be a 50 centimetre zip if you're going to go grab one.
Great. Oh, thank you so much,
You're
Jenniffer.
welcome.
It's been lovely. I really enjoyed today. Great having you on.
Thank you.
Well, I'm sure you're back soon. When are you back?
I am back next week. I think it's Wednesday, but don't quote me.
Back next Wednesday. You can check the website.
I don't even know what day it is, to be honest.
Thursday. No, thank you very much. Really great.
Cool.
Lovely work. I'm just going to round up on the fabric, so we'll head over here. Thank you.
No.
Okay, so where's the pattern? Oh, so the pattern, this is the pattern we've been working with today. This is the Clothkits 50s Vintage Tea Dress Paper Sewing Pattern, £12.95, JBCY16. So all of your information in there, step-by-step guides, your pictures, your bullet points, all of your actual paper pattern for you to cut out and use. And it's on a really thick paper, so you can reuse that as well. It's not something that's just sort of a one-time only. This has been really, really popular today. Over half the stock's already gone, so if you do want it, make sure you check out your baskets. A nice, lovely 50s tea dress, really, really pretty. So we use the Amy Butler fabric here today, which you can see on this mannequin here, and what we were working with Jenniffer. This is the fabric. It's really soft, really, really lovely. So 3 metres you get of this, obviously a lot of fabric, which is enough to do the pattern in any of the sizes. You've got really gorgeous sort of pinks, blues, reds, even some slightly darker khaki greens. I think what's great about the all the different colours in this is that you can match it with any sort of accessories, or maybe your shoes. You could pick out one of these colours and sort of highlight that in another area of your outfit, and I think that would work really well. So that's the Amy Butler fabric, and also we're selling that in a bundle, so what you get in there as well is also your interfacing, and you only use a tiny bit of that in the pattern, so you'd have loads left over, and also your thread, which you just saw us using. It's sort of a rosy, pinky terracotta sort of thread, but it matches beautifully with the fabric. So £42.95 for that bundle, VPGC18. Remember, you can give us a call or head to the website and add it to your basket that way. And so we did have a choice of fabrics on today's show, so not just the Amy Butler, we also had this, which is a 7-berry bundle, slightly different price. This one's a little bit cheaper than the Amy Butler. So gorgeous Japanese fabric. Oh, I think this is £38.95. So this is a lovely floral. I'd say this is a much more traditional fabric for this tea dress. Lots of gorgeous flowers there, all your little petals and roses. You've got pinks, blues, greens, little splashes of yellow as well in there. And navy is just a really lovely colour for the base of that dress. I think that's definitely much more traditional. So that's LDGC07 for the floral fabric. Again, in that bundle, you're also getting your interfacing, a metre square of that, and your thread. It's a darker navy thread in that one. So don't forget as well, if you want to use that fabric for the pattern that we were working with today, then you'd also need to buy that separately. So the Clothkits pattern is the one that we were doing, and that's the afternoon tea vintage dress. You'll also just see to my left, this is the kimono that Jenniffer made on one of her previous shows. So you can go back on YouTube and watch how she made that. If that's something you want to buy, that was on the 22nd of February, and she talks through how you can make this gorgeous kimono. All the details are on the bottom of your screens there. 01CY26, and that's £12.95. Oh, well, thank you so much. I've had a lovely first show. It's been great to be here. I'm really excited, and thank you so much for all your lovely comments. I'm back again tomorrow morning with Angela Atwood, and next up is John and Lucy Brennan, so don't go anywhere.
Follow us on Instagram. Search for our Sewing Quarter page and follow us to get our latest posts. Join us on Sunday the 2nd of April when Jo Carter will be demonstrating how to make the super cute Panda Pop mini quilt. Jo will be showing a whole host of techniques and working with wonderful Joel Dewberry fabrics to produce a quilt fit for a little prince or princess. So join Jo and the Pandas on Sunday the 2nd of April at 10 a.m, only on Sewing Quarter, Freeview Channel 78.
So I'm going to be showing you how to do an ease stitch. It's very similar to our running stitch here, but the purpose of it would be different. So I've kind of mocked the head of a sleeve here. 9 times out of 10 you will have to ease the top section of your sleeve. So this is the stitch that you would do that with if you were going to do it with hand. So I'm going to use the embroidery thread. I've just popped a knot on the end again just so it doesn't pull through. Normally you wouldn't do it with embroidery thread. So on your sleeve, normally these sections will need to be kept as they are because it's only this section here that we need to be working with. So I'm going to be doing a running stitch quite close to the edge of the fabric. I'm just going to do the quick method here where you're pulling the needle through the fabric while keeping it on the same needle. So I'm going to stop there and then pull that all the way through like so. So you can see that I've got just that section sewn there, and then as I begin to pull you can see that I'm easing the head of my sleeve in. So when that is stitched, these curves should disappear. They shouldn't be there because you've eased the bigger section into a smaller section on the clothing. So that's easing.
Here at the Sewing Quarter, we want to help you with your levels of sewing. Whether you're a novice or you've been sewing for years and years, we want this to be a fabulous learning curve for all of you. Whether it's making a little gift or making yourself a fabulous outfit, we will be working with some of the UK's biggest designers. You have to join us for that.
Don't forget, our sister brands are some of the leading brands in the industry, with Love Patchwork and Quilting being rated top modern quilt title on the market. Today's Quilter has achieved market leadership in the traditional quilt sector. And finally, Simply Sewing was launched in February 2015 after noticing a gap in the market for beginners. Combined, we reach over 150,000 readers every month.
Yes, it's us back. And Margaret in Manchester, was it Margaret that messaged in? Margaret in Manchester, thank you for your lovely message. I'll send you a reply later. Anyway, you can get in touch. Now, you know you can get in touch. There's 2 ways. I'll tell you very quickly. This is Lucy Brennan, by the way, if you didn't know. But, of course, she's like the fixtures and fittings now, like me, aren't you? Who is she? Who is she? Oh, that was that, wasn't she, on Big Brother? Who is she? Who is she? Anyway. Moving on. If you want to get in touch, there's 2 different ways. One, you can go on the web. You can send us a web chat. If you go to the website, www.sewingquarter.com, you click on Watch Us Live. Oh, there it is. There you go. And then there'll be me and Lucy there. There we go. Oh, I've got double chins today, haven't I? Blind. I look like your old dad there, don't I? Not your old dad. I don't know what your dad looks like. But anyways, scroll down the screen, message the studio, just type in a message there, and it goes straight through to producer Hannah, and she'll read it out. Hi. Lucy, exclamation mark something. Or, of course, you can send us an email. You can send an email to studio@sewingquarter.com. Studio@sewingquarter.com. Only got an hour left. It's weird, isn't it, when you do this all the time?
I do. It's
a
my
bit
regular.
Weird coming in and doing just 1 hour and then having a break and then doing another hour. It's kind of packing up and going home. Anyway, we're doing EPP again, aren't we?
We are,
Elaine
yes.
Page on... No, it doesn't work. EP.
No, don't.
Oh, anyway. I have to tell you that the 2 kits we had last time in the 9 o'clock show, the one that Lucy was demonstrating sold out. Oh, there's one left, apparently. There's one left. One person hasn't checked out their basket yet, but there's one left. And there's a few of the star one left, but we're going to do 2 more here. But I will recap on the fabrics and the kit that's left over from the 9 o'clock show. We've got 2 new kits now, haven't we? So the one that you're doing is this one.
Yes.
Oh, now, this feels heavy. This feels like it's got lots
There's
and lots
of
of
pieces in.
Oh, this is me. This sums me up. Look at what this one's called. Yesterday's Star. Like an old has-been. I know that's what you were all thinking, so I thought I'd say it first.
Stop.
Now, the finished mini quilt will be 94 centimetres by 94 centimetres. You get the pattern plus the paper pieces for $16.95. Right, before I show you the other one, I'm actually going to open this one out and show you what you get in here, because you've already started using it.
Yes.
There's loads. There's absolutely loads in here.
And these are slightly bigger pieces.
And they're bigger as well.
The other
and
one,
they're big as well. Look at all of those. Can you see those? Let's look at them from above, shall we? Please. Honestly, I've never had a director say no to me before. That's all right. It'll go down in my shift report. It's fine. Who was it directed to? I can't remember his name. Anyway, look, you get all of those. You get all of those. Does it say how many you get in total? Just loads.
Yes, just
Doesn't
a lot.
say how many,
well,
but...
enough to do the whole pattern.
Yes, so you get enough to do the whole of this. I'll tidy them up in a second for you. Enough to do the whole of this. There you go. £16.95. Lucy's going to demonstrate that one to you now. But we've also got a second one. We've got this one. This is called the Antique Garden. I'll just move all because Jay can tidy those up. Oh, now, yes. I've got a picture to show of somebody who's made one later on. Very like it, very similar. Not from this one. But this is the Antique Garden miniature. Antique Garden miniature, 47 centimetres. So the finished piece is 18.5 by 20.5 inches, pattern pieces. Now I have to tell you, if you like intricate work, can you see them in there? They're little. They are little. Now, they are, if you really want that beautiful, beautiful, intricate, tiny look. But you've got to have a bit of patience to do those, haven't you?
Yes,
really?
you do. But it's a change of pace.
Yes, exactly.
You know.
Let me show you a picture of one that Karen made, not from this kit, but from the little optical... Oh, look, it's a miniature Karen. That was her very first EPP project. Oh, how long did that take you, Karen? No, it took her a year.
Yes.
But
it does take a long time.
Now, Karen, when you finished it, did you feel satisfied or did you feel sad? Because that's like finishing you know when you finish a big... Hang on, I'll wait for Hannah. What are you saying, Hannah? Oh. When 24 Hours in A&E finishes and Hannah gets all upset, that's all. When a TV series finishes. But you know when you read a big blockbuster book and then you finish it, next night you're like kind of, oh, where's my big book?
It is. It's the same with a quilt, and especially when you've taken all that time to do it by hand.
Yes.
You're kind of joyful that you've finished, but also there's a little bit of sadness that you've come to the end of it.
I know, but then joy to start your next one. Not
yes,
joy.
Absolutely.
Don't get joy to make your next one. I'm just saying the joy. We had a show that they called Joyful Quilting, and I was like, what's that? And it's because Joy was doing it.
Oh.
Right, OK, so... Now, these are your fabric bundles that I've got on offer this hour. The last ones were very, very popular, especially the spotty ones. Now, the last ones, excuse me, were very... I might have to stand up a minute. The last ones were bright, right? These are pastels. These are the pastels. Look at those gorgeous colours. Now, the pastel spot bundle, they're lovely. So you've got cheeky pink, you've got optical white. This is cheeky pink. That's optical white. Primrose, kiwi, and baby blue. So cheeky pink, optical white, primrose, kiwi, and baby blue. Fantastic, beautiful. You'll see when you see the star that Lucy's made, you'll see how those colours work so beautifully together. Now again, we've given you the option if you don't want spots. We didn't give Lucy the option, we just sent her the spots. But if you... Oh, can we have the aircon on, please? It's boiling hot in here. Mauve mist. That one down there is glacier grey. That's all right. Mint, baby pink, and lemon. They're like ice cream flavours, aren't they? Oh,
I am really into those colours at the moment. I think
beautiful,
they're
aren't they?
gorgeous. Yeah, beautiful. I'm really nice with that grey. It's that soft. It's a soft
Now,
grey.
which would you use as the background colour for those then? Because you're going to use the white one for these, really, aren't you? But what colour would you use for the background of those? See?
I don't know. Possibly the pink.
Possibly. Yes, I think the pink as well. I like the glacier grey and the mauve mist together. I think they look nice.
Oh yeah,
together.
lovely.
Well.
But with the mint, throw the mint in there as well.
With the mint,
yeah,
I'd have the mint
nice.
as the trim, the binding and everything.
In fact, lovely Margaret is knitting me a jumper with grey, mint and purple.
A jumper like
and a bit of pink.
Margaret's from Manchester, just an avid fan from Manchester. Well, like the jumper you were wearing this morning.
She knitted that one.
Did she? Did you make this one fit, please, Margaret?
Rude. Rude.
We love Margaret.
No, I oversized. I do like oversized things. Comfy jumper.
Love. Right, shall we make something?
Yes, let's.
This is called Yesterday's Stars. Now, the pack does come with all the instructions, doesn't it? Just one sheet in this one.
Yes, just one sheet.
It was a bit of a... I wasn't sure if it was in there or not. I was just getting this right. Comes with all the instructions, look, of how to make them, but also, this one's the right way up. The other one was photocopied up the other way, you see. How to place them all and everything to make a mini quilt. Oh, do you know what? I'm just looking at it in black and white. It looks different when it's in colour, doesn't it? Anyway.
And you can play around with the placement of the fabric as well. You would get different patterns if you put them in different places. But it's 37 inches square. Yes. So it's actually, it could be a baby, it could be a baby quilt at that size. Could be a cot quilt. Yeah.
But also you could, because Jo, who makes Jo Carter, who makes that, she's got a. I can start this again. Yeah, she's got a wall hanging made. Patchwork, not an EPP, but a patchwork wall hanging above her bed. So you could actually make it and have it hanging as a piece of art.
You could. Yeah, absolutely. Yes.
Because I've got things to hang them on, but I'll show you that later.
And it does come with the instructions again, like the last one. They all come with this, with the paper piecing instructions. So if you're not familiar with the technique, that gives you the instructions.
I think they just put the same one in each pack.
Yes, they do.
Because
It
this
comes
one's got
in
hearts
everyone.
in it, but ours hasn't got hearts on it like the last one.
Yeah, it comes with everyone.
£16.95 for all those. I mean, they're just brilliant, aren't they? Now, considering how quickly the one Lucy did in the last hour, we were together, sold out. So, no, there's one left. I would be on it, like they say. Whatever the saying is. Right.
On it like a bonnet. Right. Yeah. So with this one, because you've only got 3 shapes, you've got diamonds, triangles and squares, and they call the triangles half squares in the pattern, which confused me for a minute when I was going, half square? That would be a triangle.
So they're the 3 shapes you get
Those are the 3 shapes that you get.
Now, in a way, that should be easier because you haven't got any... Because we had circles, we had hearts in the last one, didn't we?
This is easier. And also, I decided, like with the other one, I pinned each of the piece and cut round with a quarter inch seam. I thought, since I've only got these 3 shapes, and there's quite a lot, it's a bigger piece of work, I thought I would rotary cut.
OK, now did Hayley make the slide up, do we know, for this, with the measurements on?
Yes, she did. OK. So what I did was I've worked out... This isn't in the pattern, just to let people know. This isn't in the pattern. This is... I decided I wanted to rotary cut them. You don't need to.
But it saves time.
If you wanted to, you could rotary cut your pieces and then baste them.
OK, so what shape are you cutting out now, then?
So I'm going to do the diamonds.
Right, OK.
But what I've done, for each of the shapes, I've cut strips from the full width of the fabric.
OK.
OK, so the full width of the fabric. And then the measurement you're going to see is, when you're cutting it from the strips, the measurement that you need to line it up. So each strip is a slightly different width. OK,
let's show the slide to start with then. So to cut the squares, you need to cut a strip of 7 centimetres, 2.75 inches.
Yes.
To cut the diamonds, you need to cut 5.5 centimetres, 2.125 diamonds.
Which is 2 1/8.
And 2 1/8, right?
Yes.
Oh, OK, yeah. Oh, yes, yeah. And then the triangle's easy, 3 inches or 7.5 centimetres. So I'll show this again before the end of the show. They're the size of the... you don't have to do this, but if you want to do them all in one then
yeah.
this is how you can do it. All right.
Yeah, and this is how you can do it. So I did have some measurements of how many strips you need, but to be honest, because it's dependent on which fabrics you want where. So I didn't say the amount of strips, but when you've cut one, you can see how many shapes you get, and then work out. Oh, I want that many of that.
But also, you might not decide. You might want to place some. So do a couple of each colour.
Yes.
Place them, and then you can see where.
And
you
then
want
decide.
To put them. Because if you use the bundle, sorry to interrupt, but if you use the bundle, there's loads and loads of fabric left over. So the spot bundle here is the £22.95 one. There's loads of fabric left over. So maybe cut a few strips, then just play placing them, and then you can see when.
And then you can see, and you can work out how many of each shape you can get from each strip, and then decide how many you want to use for each one. So I'm going to show you how I've cut out the diamond shape, because the square is
quite simple,
straightforward, and really so is the triangle. So,
but now before you go any further, the triangle isn't half the square, or is it?
It's half the square.
Oh, okay.
It's half the square, but I did do it a different. I did cut the triangles out, because when you're cutting the triangles, all you need to do is so you cut and then you're cutting, and see the strip for the triangle is bigger, so you've got your 1/4 inch.
Yes, that's what I'm saying. Don't cut the square one out. Thinking, I can cut them in half.
You're not cutting it at the size of the papers. You're adding a 1/4 of an inch each time, so you can just measure the square, and that's how much you need to cut.
So we're doing the diamond first, then. Well,
so going to do the diamond. Oh, in fact, I can tell you because I have written it down. It's the triangles I cut in squares and then cut them in half. So I cut out 3-inch squares and then cut them in half. So then the diamond is the only one that's a little bit trickier because obviously we want to keep the seams. So I worked out using my rule. So I've got an easy way for you to be able to do it at home, providing you have a ruler and a rotary cutter.
I just use the dots, me.
Yeah, but it might not be all. The same. And when you cut it, then it's going.
You're down that side of the table.
You're cutting at different ones. So I'm using the ruler that I tend to use the most.
That is £23.95. The Creative Grids from Rachel the Rulers.
So this one is
24.5.
Yes, 24.5 by 6.5. And this one has the 45-degree angle that goes right to the corner. So on that 1-inch mark, coming directly out there is the 45-degree. So so long as you have a ruler that has that 45-degree mark coming out from the corner, you'll be able to do this. It doesn't actually matter what size your ruler is. So the first thing I'm going to do is line up the 45-degree along the edge of the strip.
Yeah.
I'm going to do it a bit further in because I want to get rid of that selvage because I didn't cut that off.
Now, I learned a trick, you see. When somebody's using a rotary cutter on the table, the other person has to step away from the table.
Yes. But you have to do
it
safely. So what you want to do then is line up. I'm just putting this here to demonstrate. You don't need to put the shape on. Line up that cut edge, the 45-degree and the 2 inches. So you've got your 2 inches there and your 45-degree there.
So that's why you don't need the piece of cardboard.
You
Step
don't need
away from the table.
So then I didn't catch that at the beginning. So then you cut that and you can see that's going to give us our seam allowance. So then all I need to do is continue on down the strip, lining up the 45-degree and the 2 inches. Yeah. So this is why it's important that 45 degrees coming out from the corner with the 1 inches. Lining it up with the 2 inch there, 45 there.
Step away from the table.
And then you can cut.
Now, you have to be careful if it's directional fabric. The spots don't matter, do they? But if it's a direction, if there's trees or something.
Yes, but then I do think with something like this where you've got them all going in different directions, it's not going to matter. It's not going to matter.
Shall I just shut up?
So I did all the diamonds that I need for the pattern in a
How long
all
are
the different colours.
You're going to make that many?
No, but it took. Because you can stack up your strips as well when you're confident with your cutting.
Yeah, exactly.
So in no time at all, I'd cut all those shapes out.
They're like Easter colours, aren't they?
Yeah, and then the same with the triangles.
Oh, Judith, was it Judith, did you say? Judith's messaging saying she's got lots of Easter projects to do, so she's going to get some of this fabric for it.
Oh, yes,
Which
lovely. Perfect for Easter.
Or the pastels, or both, apparently. Judith, these are the spots here. You've got cheeky pink. Now, obviously, you get the optical white. That's not spots. It's not a white fabric with white spots on that one, Judith. It's just called optical white. So you've got the pink here, cheeky pink, optical white, banana. No, it's not banana. Primrose, kiwi and baby blue. Aren't they lovely? You get half a metre of each fabric, right? If you're making a baby cot quilt, aren't they lovely? And especially if you don't know the sex of the baby. Do you know what I mean? If they've hidden the sex of the baby, you can make a quilt out of that, and you're not going to have that, oh, I should have made a pink one, I should have made a blue one, or whatever. And there's no point in making just a yellow one, because that makes, Anyway, you get 2.5 metres of fabric for £22.95 there. You get half a metre of each. So that's right, Hannah, that would make 2.5 metres in total. And then you've also... Can I show the pastels now? I'll just move that across here. We love these colours. You like these colours,
yes,
right?
I really like those colours. Yeah.
They look like ice cream colours. You've got mauve mist, you've got mint green, you've got lemon, or we've jumped one, lemon, baby pink and icicle grey. No, glacier grey. Now, it's funny because I spent a few months on a glacier with Angelina Jolie in Iceland. And it was pure white. It wasn't grey. It wasn't grey at all. We had to stand on pieces of polystyrene to make up.
That might be old ice.
Yeah, old ice. Yeah. She's
that
not
yellow...
impressed. She used to be impressed by Angelina, sorry, she's not impressed anymore.
I think it's funny. I am impressed. That's lovely.
Thank you.
Lovely. Was it very cold?
Yeah, it was freezing.
Yeah.
And once we'd been delivered there in the morning, right, you couldn't get back. You couldn't go back. You had to have your lunch on the run and, hold everything till the end of the day.
Oh.
Yeah,
Glad we're not there. Glad we're here.
Yes.
Nice and warm.
It was nice. Yeah, you're much better than Angelina Jolie, in my opinion. And I haven't had to pad you out, have I, really?
No, thanks.
That's a technical term.
Oh, OK.
Right, OK, let's get going.
OK, so...
I'm getting confused.
The pattern is quite simple in that you've only got those 3 shapes.
Yes.
And can we show the thing on the front? Yes. So you've only got the 3 shapes, and that makes up the whole...
Should we have a look at this then?
The whole pattern. So you've got the stars, and then you've got triangles and squares around the stars.
So there's not many squares in there, are there? If I'm looking correctly.
No, it's just the squares are in the corners, of each block, and then the rest of it is made up of triangles. So you've got a lot of triangles around the stars.
Yeah.
So. Okay. Yeah, I was cutting out my triangles because I thought it might be nice to do a reverse and have like a plain colour in the centre and then have the dots around.
Oh, OK.
Yes, you see.
All right, then.
That was my plan.
Well, we're not getting very far. It's 20 past already.
Sorry, OK. So to do the stars, it's quite simple. You've just make up your diamond shapes, and I chose to do it in pairs.
Yes.
So I've got the pink, yellow, blue and the green.
Because they've done it on the pattern. They've done it random,
they've mixed it. So obviously it's up to you.
You can make a nice coaster.
You can do it however you like. Oh, it would, wouldn't it? I could gift you that along with your log cabin quilt.
Yeah. I'll have the log cabin quilt first, though.
So I sewed these into pairs.
Yeah.
And then sewed the pairs together and then a seam.
So you made like a little arrowhead out of 2 diamonds. You made that out of the green, that out of the cheeky... Is it called cheeky pink? That out of the... Well, I don't want to keep wanting to call it banana for some reason.
But I think it does look quite banana-y, doesn't it? But I think... also, this gives it a different look.
Yes.
So putting the 2 colours together like that does give it more of an arrow.
Now my question would be then, if you were going to make a mini quilt, would you do all of the stars like that?
I would do them all like that, and then I was going to do the blocks differently. Obviously, this is a project that takes some time to do. It's not something that I can sit here and finish in an hour.
No.
But I was thinking I would have it with like all the pinks going in towards the centre. Do you see what I mean? So I would set them all differently. And so it was all the pink in the centre and things like that.
So all the pinks going into the centre.
But so that was my plan with that. But again, like we say almost every time, you can really have a play and have a think. And you can also, even on the instructions, where it shows you some of the blocks, what you could do is photocopy this and colour it in.
Oh.
And that way you can see what the different, what it would look like, and have a play around and see where you wanted your colours and fabrics to go. So that's something you could do if you chose to.
Okay,
so what I want to show you, I'm not going to baste all the diamonds and do all that. I've shown basting the shapes, and it is quite simple. I'm going to just do this square, because what I wanted to show, you do get a bit of a dimple in the middle because you've got all those seams there. So I would just
trim those
off a little bit, yes. But I don't do any trimming on my pieces until I've sewn them all together.
Right.
So I'm going to just glue baste the square, because what I wanted to show you was how you inset these shapes. Because putting something together like that is quite simple. You've just got all those straight lines. But I want to show you when you come to a corner, or with the triangles, how you do that.
Because these have all been straight lines, straight lines.
But then obviously you've got to get this bit in. So I'm going to show you how I would do that. So I'm going to baste the square.
It's like the Isle of Man. Is it the Isle of Man or the Isle of Wight that have a logo like that? It's the Isle of Man, isn't it?
And you can see how that blue's showing through, but like we were talking about before, it does dry clear and it just disappears. And also we did have I've just seen there was a message from a lady wanting to know how, I think it's Elaine, wanting to know how easy it is to take the papers out.
Where did you see that?
It got on Facebook.
Oh, OK, I didn't see that.
So what I'm going to do is I'm going to attach this shape, and then I'll pull out one of the papers that I've glue basted, so you can see how easy it is. Just get that corner in there. Yeah, just so you can see how easy it is to get them out once you've finished. But you don't, like again with the trimming...
Can I get to words in a choice?
No. When you...
It's nice. We've had lots and lots of messages saying watching Lucy and John is great fun and it's really cheering us up.
Oh, that's so nice.
But I think they meant the other Lucy.
Oh.
Anyway. I'm having a hot flush today.
It is. I am as well. There's something's going on,
And the aircon's on and everything, I know.
Anyway, sorry.
I don't take out, like with the trimming the points off, I'd never take the papers out until I've sewn all the pieces together.
Right.
Unless if I'm working on something a bit larger, I'll sew a section of it together and then remove the papers if I want to reuse them for somewhere else. But I want to make sure all the edges of whatever the section I'm working on are finished.
Okay.
Because you need the papers in to sew it
to the next
piece. Okay. So I've just basted that square. And then
with glue. But you could have basted it with thread.
With glue, but you could use thread if you prefer. So I'm going to attach this to the star. So we just do right sides together and we just work on the straight and sew along here.
Are we doing the whip stitch again here?
So I'm doing a whip stitch, yes.
I'll let you concentrate on that.
I will just mention, I have recently discovered another stitch
for you were talking
English
about this in the break,
yes, and it's called the flat back stitch, and that is what I have been using recently for my English paper piecing projects. And the flat back stitch is one that a lady who...
You're not doing the flat back stitch now?
No, I'm not. This is whip stitch. I'm doing whip stitch. I'm just going over the fabric, just catching the very, very edges.
So the flat back stitch?
So the flat back stitch is done differently. And I'm not going to demonstrate it. There's a lady called Karen, who on social media is called the DIY Addict. And I've put links to her on my blog and social media before, but you could look her up if you want to. Her name is Karen, and her social media is the DIY Addict, or Karen the DIY Addict.
Is she friends with me yet? No.
And you, I don't know, you'll have to friend her, won't you? And she didn't create it, but she's done a wonderful tutorial of how to do this particular stitch. And you do it by putting the pieces, butting them up together and sewing it flat.
On the back side or the front side?
No, on the back. And it's a really great, it's a very strong stitch, and you really can't see your stitches from the front. So
you'd use that instead of the whip stitch?
When people have finished watching, if they want to go and...
Yeah, don't go now.
No, if they could go and look that up later on.
Or we could just get her on to guest.
Because it's just interesting. Well, she's in America, sweetheart, so probably not.
But
you could do it live Skype in the screen, no?
Yes.
Except they're always like when they do the news and everything, they're always break up, or the kids run into... See that news bulletin where the man's talking to the children and the wife came running as well. Anyway,
that was funny. So it's just... I just think it's nice to know that there are other... other ways. I like trying other ways of sewing and learning different techniques. So that's...
Well, we never stop learning, do we, really?
No,
It's always interesting. I mean, it might not be... You might have done whip stitch, you might try Karen's thing, go, oh no, this isn't for me, but at least it's learning.
Yeah, absolutely.
Or you could use Karen's in a different setting, you know what I mean? It might not be EPP, it might be something else that you use it on, whatever.
Yeah, exactly. It's just nice to try different things.
While you're stitching that, because you're just, when you get to the end, don't do anything.
No.
People want to see the bundle, but they also want to see the other pattern. So, what should I do first then? The plain bundle first, this time. Sue wants to see the plain bundle. Sue, it's gorgeous. You get 1/2 metre of each of the fabrics. Mauve mist, mint, baby pink, lemon, and icicle grey. No, glacier grey. Glacier grey. Don't they look gorgeous together? Really, really lovely colours. So you get 1/2 metre of each of those. That's 2.5 metres you get of all that pastel solid bundle. And it's that beautiful, beautiful, good quality. Now, would you, because you were saying if you make a baby cot quilt, would you wash it before you start? Or would you make it and then wash it?
The fabric?
Yes.
Most people would recommend that you wash your fabrics before you use them. I tend not to.
Well, it depends what you're using it for, I suppose.
Yes, it does.
But also, I always find if you don't wash it beforehand, if you're making a quilt, when you do wash it the first time, it just tightens it up, like your jeans, just tighten up.
And it just wrinkles up, and it almost depends what look you want, because all cotton will shrink to some degree.
To some extent, but some it's just tight.
So it might just be ever so slight. Yeah. But then when I'm making quilts, I like that vintagey look of the wrinkles.
So don't wash my log cabin one before you make it then.
Okay.
Who has? Kim. Hello, Kim.
Hi, Kim.
Oh, she's got the pattern for one of Joe's soft toys. Oh, which one was it? Which soft toy was it? The rabbit. Oh, I don't know. I didn't do that show. Oh, you do. You do have enough to make. There's enough of each fabric to make the rabbit, is there? Oh, there you go. There you go. There's the answer. Mind you, I did see on Instagram she made budgies this week. Oh, weren't they adorable?
She made budgies.
Joe does
animal. I didn't see that.
No, I didn't. They're on the magazines. I'll let you know afterwards. So that's the pastel bundle there for £15.95. This, I'm just going to move that one out and bring that one in. This is very popular. This is the pastel spot bundle, this one. Cheeky pink, optical white, primrose yellow, kiwi green and baby blue. Do you know what? I think they'd all look at those all together.
They would all together. It would look lovely all together.
Beautiful bundle. Then the pastel spot bundle, £22.95. Now, what Lucy is making is she's making Yesterday's Stars. And which is this. Now, what you get in this little kit, you get the instructions and the pattern and all of the EPPP paper pieces to create that lovely... That's what they're called, isn't it? EPP paper pieces? No? £16.95. Now, the one we showed this morning, there was only one left when we started this show. I'm imagining it's sold out now. That's this one that Lucy's making. But we do have two other patterns. This is one. This is Octagon. This one's called Antique. Oh, are these Granny's Gardens, then, that we showed earlier? Are they like Granny's Gardens?
It's like a grandmother's garden.
Yeah, grandmother's garden.
Slightly different pattern, I think.
Oh, OK. But they're all, not octagons, hexagons.
Hexagons.
Look.
And hexagons are really the traditional shape for paper piecing.
And the squares in there as well. Is that right? Anyway, oh yes, the squares for the centre. The squares for the centre. £16.95. I'm quite interested with that bit there. I'll have to open it and have a look in a minute. Yeah. £16.95. That's not the one that Lucy's making. The one that Lucy's making is Yesterday's Star. Sorry, now you're coming to a tip now. So
that's okay. Yes, so I'm insetting the square into the corner. So I've attached it on the one side. There.
Yeah.
So I've just done that from the back. like that. And so now I need to sew it, so that side's sewn, and I need to sew it onto that side.
But normally you'd put right sides together, and that's going to make the whole thing...
Yes, you put right sides together.
No, you have done on that one, but then when you do this one...
You have to put right sides together because you're going to whip stitch it.
But doesn't it buckle?
So, so you have to just fold, and it's going to bend that piece. And I think sometimes when people are starting, they sort of think, oh, maybe that's wrong, but it isn't.
Right.
It isn't. That is just, it's just that
But it's the way it's got to go for you to put the right sides together,
so you just have to turn it like that. And what you want to be, you know, you want to try not to pinch that.
Yes.
That doesn't need to be folded. So you just sort of need to be careful as you're stitching not to get into that. So then you just carry on.
I wonder how the lady in America would do that then, because she puts... Oh no, because she put edge to edge, doesn't she? It might be easier to do her one, that one, isn't it?
It's easy.
Oh, it's easier to do.
Yeah, it's easier.
Okay.
But I didn't want to demonstrate it without talking to her. So,
but this is the way most people are going to know how to do it, isn't it?
Yes, absolutely. And this is what everybody does, really. You know, usually.
Yeah.
The standard. So I've sewn the square down, and you just need to be careful when you're sewing the square. You don't start from the centre. You know, you're going to start from the edge and go up to the corner.
Right. Because earlier you started, when you were doing one, you started a little bit in, didn't you? You didn't start at the corner.
Yeah. Well, yeah, you can start just a little bit in, but you want to be sewing that way so that you can then, go across.
Yeah.
So then you just want to make sure that you're catching it at the very edge, because you're using the same thread. Just catching it at the very edge and going, no, I haven't, I'm just continuing on. So what I might do is you can just do a little knot there, come in through the loop, and pull that through. You can see. So the stitch I've just done, I'm just going through the stitch I've just done, and that's just going to help to secure that.
I'm with you there.
And then you just carry on. So you're just catching the edges of the fabric and whip stitching along there. That's it. Look how relaxed we are.
I know, it's nice, isn't it?
Yeah, just all lovely and calm. There's no sound.
Apparently it's very difficult to calm us down, they're saying in the gallery.
Oh, yes, it is. It's a little bit tricky. But what's so nice is, you know, you can be doing this and be having a conversation. You can do this and watch a film or, you know, whatever you want to be doing.
No, because I do things like that while EastEnders on, then I suddenly go, oh, what did she just say? I had to rewind it, because if I'm busy doing something... I'm a boy, you see. Ladies can multitask, you see, can't they?
Well, some men
but boys can't. Yeah, some men can. Yeah, I can on some things, just not...
Yeah.
Oh, Jenniffer Taylor's just
not when you're
watching a Taylor stand up.
Watching something. Hi, Jen! So, yeah, and also the other thing I love about it, obviously, is that it's really portable.
Yes.
So I take, you know, I've got my sewing kit. I take it everywhere with me, and I've always got a little bit of English paper, you know, an English paper piecing project.
How many projects do you have on the go at once? Because if you were to follow your Instagram page, like every day it's something different.
No.
And how much? You have like just ribbons galore and fabric galore and everything, don't you?
I know. I have too many works in progress.
Okay.
I'm ashamed. I did just say to somebody, actually, I need to write a list and start checking things off, because it's just getting...
Well, it'll be Christmas soon, won't it?
Well, I know.
It's Christmas Eve and not finished any of them.
My sister's had a baby, and I'm making 2 quilts for her, and I haven't finished either of those.
Are either of them log cabins?
No, they're not. One's guitars, and the other one is it's called Land of Magic, the pattern, and it's all different, like a castle and a mermaid.
And, don't be telling me things like that. But they're little for the children, are they?
It's quite small, for the little ones. So I'm having a little bit of time off. I'm going to finish those quilts for my sister.
Fantastic.
That's the next thing on my list.
Someone just messaged in saying, John, you said at the beginning of the show that you were going to show how to display, if you're going to display them. Well, we have these craft holders. We have these... Which size would you like to start with? I've got one heart. Oh, the heart one first. OK, then this one's in its packet, so you can see. And it's the biggest one you've got here. Well, I won't take this one out of its bag, but I'll show you how they work in a second. But these, we've been asked and asked and asked to get these for you, right? This is a 12-incher, 30 centimetres. It's called the Heirloom Dowel Hanger. And basically, if you're making a little quilt or a little wall hanging or a EPP piece that you just want to display, then this is a perfect way to do it. And, I mean, I just love the fact there's a heart if you're giving it as a gift. Now, what we were saying earlier is a lot of people will do, what's they called, like loops at the top of their quilt.
Yes.
Tabs at the top of their quilt hanging, or they do a channel across the back of their tab of their quilt, so they can hang it up on there. Some people, we noticed, Hannah and I looked on the internet this morning. Some people just hang them over. Now I'm just going to show you on this one the way they work. This is the same size. This is the same size, but this isn't the heart one. This is the, I don't know what this one's called. But what you do, oh, hang on, is it that end? That comes out like that. OK, that's not this one. There's one missing. There's one missing, actually, Jay. What you do is that comes out. I'll just show you this. I'll do the graphics for you in a second. So what happens is you can slide the top of your quilt along there and then just pop it back in there. It's a bit like, and I don't want to sound crude, but like a toilet roll holder.
No, that's just what I was thinking. Everyone was thinking that.
And then you just have a hook on your wall there, and you can just, or wherever you're going to have it. You see, I bet you any money, Jenniffer Taylor's got these in her, she's got a new shed that's her workroom.
Yes.
And I bet she's decorated with bunting and everything like that. I bet you any money she's got some of these. So, I just need to, let's put the... OK, there's the small one. Right, there's the small one. Now, that would be really cute. That would be almost like handkerchief size, wouldn't it? In fact, that could be like one block of this one that we're doing. This is the 8-inch one. This is the heirloom dowel hanger 8-inch. What it was is the first one we showed wasn't an heirloom one because that's a heart one. So this is the heirloom one. I think the heirloom means this pattern here because if you look, you see that's an heirloom pattern as well, and that's 12 inches in length. So this one is the 8 inches in length for £8.95. OK? That's the heirloom one, 8 inches. For £8.95. How lovely is that? The thing is, you can hang all sorts of things from that, couldn't you? It's not just...
I have to say, I was quite shocked at the price because I've looked up these sorts of things and seen them for an awful lot more. Yeah. And it's lovely because there's a lot of ladies that make, you know, art quilts, beautiful handmade things, machine-sewn quilts, you know, and that you're really proud of. And it's so sad if they're just sat in a pile somewhere.
Or, you know, the book we had, I don't know if we still got it, the 1,000 quilt blocks. You could just make one, if you're just learning or you don't make a whole quilt for a bed, you could make a block of each one, couldn't you?
You could.
So this one is called the Heart Top Fabric Hanger with dowel, 12 inches. £5.95. How come that one's even less? £5.95. It could be that there's not as much metal in it. Look, if you look at the other one there, the heirloom one, it's got a lot of curves and work going into it. That's brilliant. That's £5.95, that one. For scrapbooking, cross-stitching, quilting, needlepoint and general crafts. Again, it works exactly the same way. The bottom piece of doweling just slides open like that. Oh, no other side, John. Just opens like that. And you can just slide your quilt or your crafting work on there. This isn't the heart one I'm showing now. Sorry, that's the heart one still at £5.95 there. And then the one behind it is the heirloom 12-inch, which Hannah did have the graphics for, I think, a minute ago. But anyway, let's move on and carry on with the sewing.
And that's so you can just sew a sleeve onto the back of your quilt and put it through that, and then you wouldn't see that at all.
I suppose it depends how you want it to look.
The top of your quilt would rest in there.
Yes.
But then if you wanted to see the wood, you could put the tabs.
Yes. Yeah. Anyway, you want to really. You might have some just really, really cute. Now, so many of you have asked for them, so we thought we'd get some in for you. Lisa, the buying department, thought she'd get some in for them. Right. Okay.
And I realised I've just said that ladies make beautiful quilts. Of course, ladies and men make beautiful quilts.
So get letters.
Yes. No. Well, I wouldn't want to leave men out. I had a lovely man in one of my classes the other day.
There you go. This is yesterday's stars that we're making here. I'll go through I'll tell you what I will... Oh, excuse me, hiccup. What I will do in a minute is I'll go through the one that we had earlier, in the fabrics we had earlier. Lots of people asking about those as well. I will go through those before the end of the show. This is Yesterday Star's a pattern plus a paper pieces. You get the pattern plus the paper, £16.95. So you get all of the details, how to do it, the instructions of how to make it, and how you lay it all out for £16.95. Now, the one we had earlier sold out. The one we had in the first hour completely sold out now. So what are you doing for us now?
So now I've just basted a triangle shape.
Right.
So I'm going to put that... Where do you think I should?
Oh, yes, because
like
you see, what I mean
I'd do opposite.
By the time you made a square, you could then hang that off this one, you see.
Yes.
And that'd be really cute, wouldn't it? Because you're eventually going to make that into a square, aren't you?
Yes.
So that could hang beautifully off one of those. If you're having a party and you wanted like slightly different, I nearly said dumplings then. What do I mean? What's that stuff? Bunting. If you look at it, you had dumplings hanging around. Oh, no, don't eat dumplings. They're sweet, aren't they? Can't eat a dumpling. Oh, anyway, that's by the by. Carry on with the triangle.
Okay. So a triangle, it's just very similar to that in that you fold it. I think sometimes when you first start English paper piecing, it feels very odd.
Yes.
But where you put the piece that you're sewing, and then you want to start in the corner and work your way down into the centre so that you can come straight back up. Now, if I was doing this at home, I would decide where I wanted all the triangles to go, and then I would work out the quickest way so I didn't have to keep tying off.
Oh, right, and you just carry on going round.
Just carry on going round. So I would have done the square. Probably, to be honest, that's enough thread, so I might have had to anyway. But if I did have enough, or if it was a smaller piece, I'd just carry on and
don't forget, Elaine wants to see how to take the cardboard out as well.
No, in fact, I'll do that now before I.
There you go, Elaine. Hope you're watching.
Yes. So I did glue baste all of these shapes.
Yes.
Before, and I've sewn them together. Now, I would not take these out until I've sewn the edge on it.
So until it's in a full,
until it's
shape.
Full, and I've got the edge. It's the edges that are really important. So long as I'm not sewing this to something else, then I can take the paper out. So I don't actually have to have finished everything, but it needs to have its finished edge on before I can take it out. So all I'm going to do is just peel back the fabric like that. Now, sometimes, depending on how much glue you've used, and also when you did it, because over time it can... I was working on a very large quilt, just bits started to fall out from the middle.
Yes.
While I was moving it around and things like that. But so I've just peeled back the fabric and it literally comes out.
And that's reusable now, isn't it? You can use that again.
And so it's not... I'm not tugging the fabric. I'm not tugging I'm not pulling really hard.
Yeah.
I'm just literally peeling it back.
So the glue has dried clear, but also when you've made it, if you are going to make it into a baby cock quilt and you do then decide to wash it, it then washes the rest of the glue away then, because you said it was washable away,
it washes away. It washes out, yeah. And actually, if you have a look, that's where I put the dots of glue.
OK, Hannah's obviously just missed that. When you take the cardboard out is when you know you've got to the edge of the shape that you're doing. So if you know you're never going to sew anything to that one or to the edge, then you take the paper out then. You don't have to wait till you're done the whole thing. As long as you take it out, as long as none of the sides are going to be stitched to anything else. So if you are making a whole quilt, you take them out once they're all in place, don't you, really?
Yes, yeah. You can do bits as you're going along, because sometimes if you're doing a very large quilt, it's a bit daunting to have to take all the papers out at the end.
And maybe you might need those bits of paper for that.
And you might need that bit to do the next bit. So you can move them along. It's just that you need to make sure that the bits that you've sewn... So I know this square on the corner there isn't going to be sewn to anything else.
Right.
So I could take that out if I wanted to. But I know I've got to sew something in this section, so I can't take these out.
No.
But where I'd put the glue on the seam... It's not blue. There's no big blue blobs anymore on the edge of the fabric.
They do different colours, it's just that we do the blue,
it's already disappeared. Yeah, you can get pink and yellow, but there's actually no variation in the glue.
So
it's not a different... It doesn't mean anything other than if you want to be able to see it, so you can get the different colours, like with some of the pencils.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying.
The pencil's just the pencil, but the different colour shows up a bit more. So if you wanted to be able to see... You can get the different colours of glue.
Also, some of the air erasable, water erasable, they, you know, the terracotta one and everything like that are different, mean different things.
Yes, yeah. But with the glue, it's not like the pink is stronger than the blue or anything like that. They're the same.
Okay.
It's the
Somebody's
same
asked, have you got the slide there? Somebody's asked what size the strips were that you cut. So if you're going to cut them with a rotary cutter, if you're going to cut them with a rotary cutter and you don't want to, you know, you want to save time, then if you're doing the squares, you need to cut a 2 3/4 inch or 7 centimetre strip. If you're doing the diamonds, you need a 5.5 centimetre or 2 and
an eighth.
Or the triangles, you just do 3-inch strips, 7.5 centimetres. So that will, I mean, you don't have to do that, but Lucy was just saying, if you're going to do lots and lots and lots like these, going to do lots and lots and lots like these, then why not do it all in strips? Because if you're going to do well, you know what I mean. This one is for the kit in here is for this is 37 by 37 inches. That one in the end. But if you then wanted to carry on and do a bigger and bigger and bigger one,
yes. And well, with the kit that we had earlier on, there were all different shapes, and there wasn't very many of each shape.
Yes.
So that made sense just to pin it to the fabric and cut round it. That's fine. But when you've got a lot of the same shape, I just thought it makes it just a bit easier and a bit quicker to rotary cut them out. So the squares are 2 3/4. So you're just cutting out squares 2 3/4. The diamonds, you're using that 2-inch line with your 45-degree angle, and then the triangles, I cut the 3-inch squares and cut them in half.
Exactly.
So I'm cutting squares from the triangle strip and then cutting the squares in half.
So this is what we're making. Yesterday's stars. It's 94 by 94 centimetres. That's 37 by 37 inches. Then you get the pattern plus the paper pieces for £16.95. So looks like a very traditional design, that one. The one we had earlier was a bit of this, a bit of Dresden, a bit of Grandma's Garden, a bit of windmill, a bit of... no log cabin, was there? Just had to make that bit up.
You just want a log cabin in everything.
Shapes and everything. Whereas this one is a more of a traditional, and it's a simpler shape. You've got the diamond, the square, and the triangle in there. But of course, you can, like Lucy was saying, they've done random on here, random colours on here. Lucy was going to do hers with all the pink sections all facing into the middle and everything. But that's what the joy of doing something like this, isn't it?
Yes, and I think as well, a lot of the quilt blocks are traditional. You know, a lot of them are traditional, but it's the fabric that makes the look of the finished quilt. So if you were to do this, one in, say, the bright solid bundle, that's going to give a whole different look to it than you know, using the dots.
Yeah, well, it looked very contemporary, like you were saying earlier. If you use the bright, you haven't seen it. If you just watch this out, you haven't seen the bright solids bundle or the bright spot chair. I will be going over in a minute to do it, but I've also got threads here, beautiful threads to show you here as well. Shall I do those now? Oh, is this the right one? This is Fenton House I've got here. No, it's not the right one. No. Not worry, don't worry.
Well, we do have some threads.
We have lovely threads. Go to the web. Go to our web shop and have a look. That was Fenton House, and I was supposed to be showing you French cottage. Oh, actually, no, that is French cottage. I thought I've got French cottage. No, it's not right, because I thought we were doing summer loft, that was all. So what should I do? Should I go over and do... I'm going to leave Lucy. I've got 12 minutes.
No,
have you got something else to show?
Well, I'm just going to. I'm going to try and get to the end of the thing.
Come on, get to the end of this.
It is slow because you're, you know, it's hand sewing, so it's not something that's going to be a quick project. It is going to be.
I'm getting told off for interrupting, so I'll just be quiet
Oh,
now.
okay.
So it's just you talking now.
Yeah, it is going to take time. It's not something that you're going to finish in a day. It's not something you're going to finish in a week unless you're very fast.
Though, isn't it?
It's incredibly therapeutic. I said that last night. Sewing is my therapy. It absolutely, you know, it's just for me. It's that downtime in the evening. It's just being able to sit. I mean, I do sometimes, you know, I'm watching a programme or whatever, but I'd be just quite happy, quietly sewing away. And I do laugh because I'm taking the train, you know, to come here, and so I always do a bit of sewing on the train, and everybody's on the train with their laptops and, you know, on their phones and all the technology, and I'm sat there.
I think that's quite
sewing.
Nice.
Yeah, well, I think it's
Mind
nice.
you, when you're doing sewing, it means you can chat to other people on the train, doesn't it, really?
And I have. I've had many conversations, and people ask me what I'm doing, and, you know, I tell them a bit about it. And
I once made a
try and encourage people. So I'll show you. So I've come down to the centre there. So I'm in that middle point. I'm just...
For the Royal Opera House, you don't care.
It's a Royal Opera.
I'll let Lucy do this, 'cause it's more important.
You've still got...
Yeah,
I've still got
that
little doggy, so it's just because I've...
Yeah.
And don't be afraid to move, you know, to... No, don't. You can do this. It's not going to do anything. You've done little stitches. You've done little tiny stitches on the back there. It's nice and secure. It's not going anywhere. So don't be afraid to twist and turn. So I'll pull that dog ear out the way, and then I'm just going to fold it back.
Yeah.
And make sure, and you might want to just manipulate it to get those the corner point where the triangles are meeting.
Yeah.
The triangles meeting the diamond, sorry. To get that corner nice and neat, because it can sort of shift. So you want to make sure that you just use your fingers and get that corner and go right through the corner of both pieces.
Right.
And I do, if it's longer like that, I do put a clip there because I find it helps my grip. You know, I'm not gripping it as tightly to keep it in place. So sometimes I will put a little clip there just to keep it nice and taut. And then you're just sewing down there to get your inset triangle.
Nice.
So it's not it's not. There's no magic trick to it, and it's not particularly tricky. It's just that you need to not be afraid of folding your work over and moving it around. And you do want to, as you're sewing along, you want to be careful that those corners are meeting.
Yes.
Particularly when I first started, quite often I would find, you know, I'd have one end longer than the other just because it had shifted as I was going along. So you want to be mindful as you're sewing your two pieces that that's going to meet as well. And sometimes you do need to do a little bit of...
Yeah, manipulating.
Yes, manipulating.
The question I was going to ask is, you know, when earlier we showed the centre and you said you get a bit of a dimple because all of the centres come together. How much of that would you chop off?
I'll show you, shall I? So... very carefully, I'm going to fold it back because there would be nothing worse than me just chopping one of those and chopping chopping straight through into a seam. So I'm going to do it carefully, one by one, move those pieces out of the way. And this is why I'm saying when you can, I said in the other hour, you can, when you're basting your shapes, trim these off first. Yeah. So it's really up to you where you want to do it. So I'm just leaving... Yeah. I could probably go a little bit closer.
So you're really just leaving the seam allowance because it's a corner. It's actually bigger than your seam allowance. You just
what I don't want to do is cut right in close to that. I don't want to go near my stitches.
No.
And I want to, you know, we leave a 1/4 inch seam allowance for a reason. And that gives it strength and means that your stitches aren't going to come out. So I would probably leave about a 1/4 inch away from where I've stitched. You can go a little bit closer if you want to, but it's just going to help get rid of that bulk. And these are slightly bulky because I rotary cut them, you know, from that strip, but you'd get it.
But you are doing them one at a time. Anyway. Don't go into it with your shears and just think, well, I'll just trim that down.
No, because I'm just cautious and I've spent that time sewing them together.
Yes, exactly.
And it only takes one little
sniff and that's it, ruined,
doesn't it? Yeah, and you've completely ruined it. I mean, it's patchwork, so there are ways of fixing it, of course, because that's what
you do.
That's what you do. But so once I've taken those out, then you can see how much neater that becomes. Definitely. So that's going to lie.
And also once the cardboard's out, because the cardboard's making it dimple upwards,
protrude a little bit. Yes. So once those are out, it will go down slightly. But you can even see from there it's gone flatter already than it was.
Fantastic. This is yesterday's stars, pattern plus paper pieces for £16.95 there. Now, Lucy, thank you very much indeed. When are you in next?
I think it's the 15th of April.
Oh, ages? You've got 2 weeks off?
Got a little bit of time off.
All right, then enjoy yourself. Before we go any further, I've just got to remind Hannah, have you done the slide... For tomorrow, this isn't... I'm not going yet, I'm going to show you the bundles, but I'll show you this while I'm walking over. It's not like Hannah to be ready. Let's have a look. Oh, where's it gone? There it is. Now, it's tomorrow. It's Natasha with you tomorrow. At 8 o'clock, you've got Tilda Bunny Softies. At 9 o'clock, you've got Sewing Room Essentials. At 10 o'clock, you've got The Gorgeous Goose. And at 11 o'clock, you've got more Sewing Room Essentials Part 2. Right, I'm just here to give a little roundup. I do love it when Lucy's in. She's great fun, isn't she? But it was really nice that brought us down a little bit. Right, you know, relaxing. Right, which one? These are the 4 bundles we've got on available today. Right, bright solids. Now, you haven't seen these in this hour yet. These, do you want me to move them or they're all right there? They're all right there. We've got emerald, we've got charcoal, we've got... And that one and that one. I've forgotten from earlier, this is earlier. Right, emerald, charcoal, violet, magenta, and yellow. That's that pack. 15, you get half a metre of each of them for £15.95. Over half of today's stock has already gone in the bright solids. Right? £15.95. Et le prochain? Bright spots, which are at this end. Now, this is, I would say paprika, but it's not. It's a fruit, isn't it? Papaya. But you also get the optical white in this one because we were blending it, weren't we? The optical white, marine blue, candy pink, and then they call this one turquoise, but it's green. Right? But that's lovely, isn't it? That's a really, really lovely... £22.95. You get 2.5 metres of that beautiful fabric. It's really, really good quality, that spot fabric. It's beautiful. At £22.95. Moving swiftly along. Pastel solid colours. Pastel solid colours. We've got mauve mist. We've got mint. We've got baby pink, we've got lemon, and we've got glacier grey. Aren't they lovely? Beautiful Easter colours. Lots of people have multi-bought this. I think there might be, if you've got an Easter hunt and you're going to line the baskets or something like that, that'd be nice, wouldn't it? These are the Pastel Solids bundle for £15.95. There they are, the mauve mist, the mint, the baby pink, the primrose, and, oh, this is the most popular. This is not, I don't know why I said it's surprised then, at £15.95. Really pink. We've got optical white, we've got primrose, we've got khaki, and we've got baby blue. How I remembered all those names, I will never know. £22.95. Half a metre of each. Fabulous quality. Really, really, really good quality. £22.95. Now, if you've missed anything, remember, we do repeat the show over and over and over again on our website. Go to our website all afternoon. Go to the website and watch the shows again. You can also go and watch them on YouTube because if you want to pause and whatever, you can do there. Now, I'm not in now until Sunday, so you've got Natasha Friday and Saturday. Thank you so much company today, even though I feel like I've only done half a job today because I only had the two shows today. Thanks very much for all your lovely words. Thanks for watching. Watch Natasha tomorrow, and I'll be back on Sunday morning at 8 o'clock. Take care.
Sewing Quarter is at the very heart of sewing as we bring you all things sewing and quilting. The team behind us live and breathe sewing day to day. We strive to bring you exclusive offers, exciting live demonstrations, and most importantly, we will custom cut fabric to your specification in our very own cutting room. We will also be bringing you TV exclusives that you won't be able to find anywhere else. So come and join us today at the Sewing Quarter.
Welcome to the Sewing Quarter!